Hey, Prime members, you can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the app today.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hello, and welcome to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
Hi, I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us again this week. Holy crap, do we have crazy stuff for you again, as we do every single week. I hope you enjoyed last week, which was a little nuts as usual with the Cuban cowboy.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's name is the Cuban cowboy. If you saw the picture or it was like, I never heard of that guy and skipped it, you want to hear the show because it's the guy always, if a Crime and Sports guy that we're going to do is known for always carrying 6 shooters on his hip, you probably want to hear that one. You know what I'm saying?
Not even from this country.
He's not even slightly Western.
Right.
You probably want to hear all about that, I would assume. So today we have a crazy-ass episode. Yeah. It's in Italian, so you know it'll be fun for me, and I'll be making fun of my own culture very, very much, so that'll be a good time there.
Yeah.
Hope you guys, though, did enjoy last week. If you did, you know how you could have told us?
Yeah.
Get on that purple icon, Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars. It helps us for some reason.
Right.
We don't know why.
It's a thing.
We didn't do it.
No.
We didn't build that.
No.
But for some reason, it helps drive you up the charts. So if you want to help out the show, that's a good way to do it. You can also go over to shutupandgivememurder.com
Right.
for everything crime and sports and small town murder related. And if you're not listening to Small Town Murder, what are you doing?
I don't know.
I don't even know. Yeah. Where's your brain? What are you doing? You're missing out. If you like this show, you're definitely going to like that show. Put it that way.
What?
Yeah.
If you haven't tried it, go get your nose swabbed. If you got COVID.
You probably do.
Yeah.
It's eating at your brain right now. That's the problem. So check it out. This week, last week on Small Town Murder, there was a man who wanted to drink shot glasses of blood to celebrate a murder, and that was the least weird thing he did after the murder. So you want to hear all about that stuff there.
Holy shit.
Check it all out. Get all your merchandise. Tickets to live shows that are rescheduled for next year.
Yeah.
Full slate coming up on 2021. They're rescheduling ones that haven't already been rescheduled right now. So
everything in 2020 is rescheduled, just so you know.
Just so you know.
And if it's not announced to you, it's
coming.
because we're working on it.
We're working on it.
We'll get you there.
We're just trying to cram everyone on Earth that was scheduled to do things in 2020 are all trying to cram
They're doing the
2
same
years
thing
worth
we're
of stuff
doing.
in 1 year. So it's the venues are overwhelmed, and there's a lot of venues that no longer exist.
Right.
So that's another problem. So it's made the pool smaller.
So weird.
So so it just takes longer to figure everything out. So, but that's all getting smooth. All the shows will be there. Don't you worry.
No, but just so you know, nobody foresaw this. So
we had no idea.
This is what we're dealing with now.
So if you want to help the show out even more, you can do that very easily by being a Patreon donor.
Right.
That will also make you a producer. Things you get with that are Jimmie mispronouncing your name at the end of the show. Terribly. He'll brutalize it, especially if it's Italian. You won't even recognize it. With that, and you'll get bonus episodes, tons of bonus stuff. You'll get access to Small Town Murder and Crime and Sports bonus, and they all kind of flow into each other. We'll say it's not all about sports guys or about murders. So they go. This week's Crime and Sports bonus finally is the Vince McMahon steroid trial.
Right.
And I have testimony of tons of wrestlers from back then, so you get to hear
under oath
things in their under oath in federal court talking about wrestling. So it's pretty interesting shit here. You definitely want to check that out if you have any interest, even if you don't care about wrestling. It's just for a study in humanity.
No, Your Honor,
interesting.
This is called a gimmick.
Yeah, it's Hulk Hogan is actually asked, do you still call your arms, quote, pythons? That's the type of stuff that's going on in this court. So we're going to have a ball with that shit. Enjoy that.
I have to explain to a man who went to law school with the difference between a shoot and a work.
A shoot and a work. And let me explain to you. All right, the term brother. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of brothers dropped in that one. But check that's patreon.com/crimeinsports, and it's anything above the $5 level. If you just want to be a good person and get a shout-out, have Jimmie butcher your name, you can do that also over at PayPal using our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com. Right. Let's get into this because it's crazy.
Excellent.
And it's deep and it's thick, and the story was a lot deeper than I thought it was going in. Bobby Czyz. You know who Bobby Czyz is? You know the fighter Bobby Czyz?
No.
He's a boxer and was an analyst for Showtime forever, up until 15 years ago, maybe. Wow. I mean, if you heard his voice and saw him, you'd probably know who he was as far as just from boxing analyst type shit. But Bobby Czyz, boxer, coming up in the 80s and all that. We'll talk about him because what a weird life this guy had.
Great.
Holy shit. His dad, just a gem. A real gem. Let's do it here. Robert Edward Czyz Jr.
Oh, boy.
So right away, there's problems. Right away, there's an issue. We know it. And his dad, if his dad was an athlete, really would have been a monster.
Well, what the hell was he with the hubris for a junior?
Oh, we'll talk about it. His dad has hubris is one way to put it with his dad. Now, this is Bobby Czyz, and the Czyz, the spelling of the last name is CZYZ. Oh. That's Czyz. So.
No.
It's his Polish part of him.
Oh, thank God he's not.
Which is a small part of him because the rest of him.
This show.
Yeah, you would go, oh no. They'd go, I don't think you said my name. Nicknames here. Number 1, Matinee Idol. Oh. That's what he called himself. Jesus. And also Chappie. Early in his career, he went by Chappie, which is what his dad called him. But he's born February 10th, 1962. Okay. And he's born in Orange, New Jersey. Later on, he'll live in Wannock, New Jersey for a while here. He's 3/4 Italian and 1/4 Polish. Okay. So this is going to be a big deal because the Italian, especially boxing community, is a really thing unto itself. Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. The trainers and all that. There's a lot of, it's really insular. And I know this because my stepmother's father was an Italian boxing trainer. So I know this for, like he had Zuri Lawrence, who was a half decent heavyweight in the 90s and stuff like that. So like they all know each other. It's all very inside. The Italian community is very insular in lots of different ways. Yeah. If you live in Phoenix, let's say, not so much because people have moved away from their families to out here.
They do have the Knights of Columbus.
We have that still. We'll get together. Sons of Italy Hall. Besides that, though, back east, everybody's lived there for fucking generations, and they know each other, and the parents knew each other, and it's all very insular. It's not, there's no connection really with the outside world.
They get to little Italy and stay there.
Yeah, and even when they're not in like a section like that, still they deal with each other. They have their own little clubs, their own little things they do. It's not an outside thing, really. That's an interesting thing. Now, I never knew really what the hell Bobby Czyz was. He sounds Italian. I know he's from New Jersey, and I know we have. how do I put this? I don't know how to put this in a legal, non-libelous, and also accurate way. How do I do that?
Allegedly?
I know that we have, Bobby Czyz and myself, mutual friends of ours, let's just say. Mutual friends. So I'm not going to say, and for legal reasons especially, I'm not going to say that Bobby Czyz knows a lot of mob guys, but I will say
he's a friend of ours.
That mob guys know Bobby Czyz.
Got it.
So I don't know, you can take from that what you want, basically.
He's a friend of ours.
He's just... If you're a figure back there, and especially an athletic figure, and especially a guy like a boxer, when you're a boxer in the beginning, you need someone to stake you. People have to stake you.
Got it.
So it's a, you know what I'm saying?
Is it a friend of mine? He's a friend of mine. That's what it is.
Well, no, a friend of mine, we'll not get into let's not get into the terminology.
Isn't a friend of mine like a guy that I know he's fine. He's inside.
Yeah, he's
a friend of ours. It's like, that's
yes, exactly. So we have mutual friends that are ours, if we know what I'm saying. Okay. So, anyway, we have a quote from Bobby. He is a Michael Ray Richardson New Jack level quote machine, by the way.
Really?
Oh, these fucking guineas are voluble, we'll say, for number one. And number two, he's a real smart guy. And God, does he love to tell you how smart he is, too. So he just loves to talk and tell you how great he is. Here he is. Quote, I was born in Orange, New Jersey. It was in the Harlem-esque section, the really downtrodden ghetto area. I don't have any memory of Orange, and I don't have much memory of Newark. I used to live in Newark, too, and it was in a bad section before I was 2 or 3 years old. I was a very small baby in the apartments. Yeah. So then he says, talking about his family life and how they ended up here, quote, I was born 5 days before my father turned 18. That's
a
tough.
bad time to be born.
4 months before my mother turned 18.
God.
So obviously I was not a planned child.
Yeah.
Probably not. No. Juniors in high school usually don't say, I think it's time to have let's settle down.
Yeah.
I think it's time to settle down and we've been trying.
Got to take my mind off this homework.
We've been trying since first semester and it just hasn't taken yet. We're going to keep humping away though. Jesus Christ.
You ovulating?
Yeah. He said, so obviously I was not a planned child. They both had dropped out of high school. My father got his GED and my mother didn't. She had 3 kids before she was 20.
Wow.
Yikes. So it was children raising children, if you will. So yeah, this is,
holy
they're
shit.
Young, they're poor, they have a shitload of kids. This is a Vito Corleone situation is what we have going on. You've seen
Christ.
Godfather 2. That's what this is like, except in the
19
60s.
Having 3 kids.
Yeah.
Mind-blowing.
It is mind-blowing. And that happened a lot back then. That was a big thing. Before, because this is before, the 60s is when the pill became big. Yeah. So this is, I have a feeling his mom really didn't know too much about it yet because.
Or had the lack of availability and access.
That's what I'm saying, that too. Yeah. So back then people would just fucking so many kids. His family life is fucked up. Mm-hmm. Let's just say his dad is a fucking monster. We've talked about a bunch of dads who we often say we can't figure out what's better for a criminal athlete, a young budding criminal athlete. Is it better for the father to leave and just abandon the family completely or stay close by and beat the living shit out of anyone within arm's reach? We've gone through this many times.
We'll show them how to not do things or also show them really how to not do things.
Yeah, or the opposite of that, or actually kind of goes with it, is that overbearing parent who, like the Todd Marinovich eating kidney gummies in the fucking crib and, the Jennifer Capriati parents that are just forcing.
There's really not a perfect solution to it.
No.
If you're a dickhead.
That's the thing. The thing is, with parents think they can make their kid like a professional athlete, but it's like, if they don't want to do it, then you force them to do it like Todd Marinovich, and then they turn out like Todd Marinovich. If you just lay back on them, they don't have the desire, they won't do it at all. They basically have to want to do it themselves.
Yeah.
And they have to come to you and say, hey, Dad, I want to play on that traveling team. And then you have to go, all right, fuck, we got to figure out a way to get the kid on the, to play. That's how it has to be. It can't be, you're going to play on the fucking AAU team or you're going to, no, that's not how it works.
The answer is adjust your schedule to this fucking horrible schedule.
Yeah.
And watch kids play fucking sports, which is
and
terrible.
Be very bored for
and
a long
hopefully
time.
there's a payoff of retirement later.
That's
if they're good at what they do.
Or hopefully they'll be happy that you came and then they won't murder anyone later on for it. Either way, though, whether they take care of you or just don't ruin the family name, one of the two things. All good for you.
Even if you force them to play and there is an early retirement in the cards, that oftentimes, on 100 and so many episodes, 182, is it?
Yeah.
Eesh.
82. This is 219. Small Town Murders 182.
Wowza.
Yeah, we're on 219.
Holy fuck, man.
So we've had quite a few of these people.
There's a lot of people who, even if
we've had every example.
Retirement, it's still detrimental to that kid.
Dude, the crime in sports is really like a study. Yeah. Like if you looked at I don't know any other place. I'm not trying to pat ourselves on the back here because it definitely wasn't on purpose. It wasn't our call. Hey, let's set out to have a comprehensive, that wasn't what we were doing. But if you look at it, I don't know any other place that's taken 220 and we're, keep going every week athletes and done a fucking detailed study about all of them to kind of figure out patterns and shit.
Where it went wrong.
You could do it.
Guy, yeah.
This is like, by the time we're done with crime and sports, it's going to be basically every criminal athlete in the history of sports that you can just go over and pattern them out and you could see exactly what causes what.
Find what greed.
It's wild, man.
Or drug thirst or whatever.
This shit should be studied.
Yeah.
And if it is, if I must say this. Check this out to future professors or somebody that's smart and listening to this
in the
and
time capsule.
Just doing all this stuff. Guess what? Poop. There you go. How you like that? Now you feel dumber. Okay. So anyway, he says about his parents getting married here, and this is kind of goes into their poorness. Quote, when my parents got married and got back from their honeymoon, they had a grand total of 40 cents. They had to borrow money to pay for the cab to get home. Wow. Jesus Christ.
They went as far away as a cab could take them.
That's what I mean. They probably went to the shore.
Yeah.
They're from Jersey. They literally probably were like, we'll go to Wildwood or whatever horse shit was going on in 1960. I don't know, but
someone with a striped umbrella. Let's go there.
Any marriage where the honeymoon is at the Jersey Shore, that marriage is doomed to fail. Let's just say that.
I've got 1760. What do you got?
Not good.
We could get to the shore.
I mean, we could get to the shore. We can't really do much when we get there. Walk around, I guess. And
as far as the cab will take them.
Try not to step on any needles. That's what they're doing here.
If that's where your life is, how about don't get married?
No, they're ready to have 3 kids. Never mind getting married. They're having 3 fucking kids.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, I think we're real established here. I think we should have many children now.
Yeah.
That seems like a smart thing to do.
I was 17 and got a girl pregnant, and I was like, oh my God, I was like, I can't do that. I don't know what to do. And then she was a smart girl and guided me along the way.
She said, what you need to do is go get $200.
Right. She said, tell you what,
she
what's your next...
because she we're going Dutch here.
What's your next paycheck? And I was like, I don't know, in like 2 weeks. She's like, I'll do it, and then you just pay me back. I got one on fucking layaway, James.
Well, she did.
She got right. I didn't do anything. I certainly assisted when I had, when I had it.
Yeah. So,
when you got it.
Yeah.
Just hook me up.
Well, at least you didn't weren't like, hey, listen.
No.
Good. That was on her.
It was her decision. Thank Christ she was the smart one, because I was dumb. I was like, I'll raise it as my own. Obviously, you dummy. It is yours.
We're getting married next week, and then we'll go as far as the cab can take us on our honeymoon, because that's the couple.
Yeah. You want to go to the mall? Because that's what I've got in my pocket. We could get to the mall and take a couple laps around.
I'd be talking about your criminal athlete kid right now. So
get you some
worked out better. So they had to borrow money to get to pay for the cab to get home. Mm-hmm. They lived with my aunt and uncle for some time. They were taken in. Family is family. They lived for a while with my grandparents, which I have memory of. My grandparents had a 2-family home. We had the upper floor. They had the bottom floor. Once my mother and father got on their feet a little bit, they paid a nominal rent. So that's kind of how they came up. That's how a lot of young people kind of come up banging around, but you shouldn't have 3 kids while you're trying to figure out where you live.
Sweet Jesus.
Yeah. Now, a little about his dad.
Yeah.
To give you a background, because the things he says about his dad and the things that his dad did are kind of so terrible, you really need a background on the guy to go, what the fuck happened to this guy? Mm-hmm. So his dad, Robert Sr., his dad died when he was 2, Robert's grandfather. So Robert Jr. never met his grandfather. He said that he once told Bobby Jr. here that he was infuriated by his father dying, which, well, that's understandable. Yeah. Kids get mad, but you can't. I mean, it's not like he did it on purpose. I'm sure he would rather have been alive.
It depends on how he died, too. I mean,
some people do that. Some people get mad at people for dying.
Right.
Even if it's just a car accident, they'll get mad at them for dying.
Why the fuck were they out?
Yeah, it happened. Yeah. Especially kids.
Yeah,
they feel
it's
abandoned.
Mostly kids.
It's kids.
Yeah.
So this Robert Sr. grew up as a latchkey kid in Orange, New Jersey, and apparently he was picked on by a daycare center worker where he was enrolled as a child.
Oh, no.
He was beaten up and picked on by a caregiver.
That's horrible.
As a young child. So he ended up becoming very kind of an angry guy. At a very young age, he joined street gangs.
Yeah, because fuck authority.
That's it. Yeah, he's an angry motherfucker, and he knows how to take a beating.
Sure.
If you're not afraid to take a beating, it's one of those things where I remember listening, and it's clear in a lot of different places, but in the Hunter Thompson Hell's Angels book, he talks about how you'll hear he's talking about the Hell's Angels and how they like to have bar fights and shit in the 60s. And he's like, you'll hear, you always go into a bar, you'll hear some bartender talking about how he's a black belt in karate and he, kicked 8 guys out of here and all that shit. He goes, but a Hell's Angel who's in fights all the time is going to fucking mash some guy who's a black belt in karate, no matter how skilled he is. The fact if one guy's not afraid of getting his teeth knocked out and the other guy is, that's not an even fight.
It's not.
That's it. If one guy's used to it and I don't give a fuck if you break my nose, and the other guy's like, I don't want to be hurt in this fight. I don't care how skilled the fucking combatants we're talking about. One guy is going to keep coming.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what you got here.
And there's also a difference between the way you put your hands on somebody. When somebody's doing it for style and points, and the other guy's just coming at you to put his fucking hands on you.
The other guy's got a chain whip or a fucking tire iron. It doesn't matter anymore.
Beer bottle.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
He's not in this for style.
He's in it for
wants
style.
To hurt you.
Show off. He just wants to hurt you and get you out of the way as an obstacle.
And to your style fighting, that's a problem.
And it is. So, he spent, Bobby Sr., Robert Sr., spent his sophomore year of high school in a correctional center in Jamesburg, New Jersey, for getting arrested for doing a bunch of street shit. There, he ended up meeting, he gets out of there and he's on parole, and that's when he meets Louise, who is Bobby's mother, Luis Guerrero, who's very Italian.
Yeah.
So his father is half Polish. Yeah. His father's father is Polish, and that's it. Everybody else is Italian. Got it. Bobby's 3/4 Italian, 1/4 Polish, and is very much embraced by the New Jersey Italian community.
I'm sure he
as you can imagine here. So they got married when she became pregnant with Bobby. So this wasn't like hey, we're married, isn't this great? And then, oh, look at this, and another blessing. Yeah. This was, oh shit, I guess we better get hitched.
I better take care of you.
Yeah, he apparently, he was in that Jamestown reformatory. Eventually, Robert Sr. got his GED. Eventually here, and his father was very, very much wanted his kids to box. He got Robert into boxing at 4 years old. Okay. He started teaching him kind of the basics, and he wanted his boys to be tough and not take any shit from anybody and know how to defend themselves, basically.
The Senior's had it rammed down his throat his entire life. He's like, this world's a cold bitch, kid.
It is.
You better start fighting back.
And they're in a tougher area, and it doesn't want the kids to be walking around getting rolled when they're going to school and shit like that, which is good. You should teach your kids something. So later, Bobby says this later on about his childhood. And it sums a lot up here. This is Bobby Jr., our guy here. Quote, "A couple of years ago, I was due to receive a special award for the courage I showed in the ring. I had a speech to say, but I really struggled because, to be honest, I didn't know if I could accept the award as the courage I showed in the ring had been beaten into me by my father." He said, "In a way, I'm grateful to him. Every day I got beat up, but it made me strong. But I feel the lesson my father taught me didn't have to be that hard." Yeah, I would say so. His father beat the living shit out of everybody in the house constantly, including the mother, a lot. And we're talking he had 4 kids, beat the living shit out of all of them, beat the living shit out of his wife. His wife, Louise, said that he beat her so often that when it rained, her jaw hurt.
Oh, no.
Had like an arthritic jaw from getting fucking popped in the face.
She knew when it was going to rain.
Yeah. Oh. So, he made her a weatherman. Oh. That's how fucking... If you beat someone to have like predictability of weather into them, it's a lot of beating.
Better than Channel 5.
I'll hit you so hard you're going to know when it's going to rain. That's a threat. You're going to know when it rains.
Turn your ass into a weather vane. Keep talking.
Fucked up, man. That's mad. I'm just trying to make light of it. It's fucking awful.
That's the worst.
And back then,
my hand sometimes throbs when it's going to rain. And this thing was fucking mangled.
Yeah.
And the little amount that I can change the weather or predict the weather, I can't change anything.
I was going to say, Jimmy, we need to talk, buddy. I mean, Jesus Christ.
I know.
We've had flights delayed. You could have done something about this. What are you doing?
For her to be able to know every time.
A team player.
That's a beating, man. She sustained it in the jaw several times. A woman getting punched in the face, man.
That's how he was.
That's horrific.
And I hate to ever throw people under the bus, but back then that was real fucking common, kind of in the Northeast, and these Italian guys were fucking brutal. Yeah. Both of my grandfathers were not kind in that way. Both of them, you know what I mean? My grandmother, Italian grandma, left my original grandfather and got a divorce in the 60s, which was not fucking done, especially in that community, not done. Her family, people were calling from Italy to tell her not to get a divorce. I swear to God, that like she had people calling, like 100-year-old relatives from Italy were calling her to tell her what a sin it is, and this is terrible. And you guys, like, I'm telling you,
an unbelievable fees to use the lines under the ocean.
She ran away to California with her daughters for fucking to get away from her own family for fucking breaking her balls for wanting to get a divorce and to get away from all of them. It's a long story, but
tired of getting hit.
This was a fucking, you know what I mean? This was very common back then. And then she met my, her next husband, grandpa, who was my grandpa, who was very nice and calm.
Sweet. Very
calm. Owned a pizza place. Yeah. He was just like, you could go off on a big rant and he'd go, hey, I don't know. It's as much as you're going to get out of him. She would yell at him. I mean, she'd scream at him in Italian and English back and forth, and he'd go, hey, I don't know what to tell you, Lloyd. I don't know what the hell you want from me. That's all he would say. Very common.
That's essentially how I would fight with my ex-wife.
It works perfectly.
And I wish, whatever.
So, oh, man.
I wish I would have hit her.
Listen, no, don't say that, Jimmy. Don't.
Joking.
Yes, obviously.
I'm completely
He's
joking.
kidding, guys. He
But
does not.
oh my God, I don't.
It's never the answer. Don't hit women.
No, never. I don't understand how people can just lose it and punch people.
I don't either.
I don't understand how that's the solution ever.
For him, it was this guy. Apparently, he beat Bobby the worst because he was the oldest.
Yeah.
So Bobby took the brunt of everything. Louise and Bobby took most of it. Now, at the age of 10, his parents got a call from the school system, whatever you want to call it, the school district is what the word I was looking for, to advise them that Bobby was far advanced ahead of his fellow classmates here, and because there was a lot of kids that were below levels in reading and math and all this shit, and Bobby was far accelerating above them. So they recommended that they relocate to a different district where that has more, better accommodations for kids who are smart,
Much
basically.
more access to fostering a growing mind.
Yeah, so they ended up moving to Wannock, New Jersey, which is kind of lower middle class, but they have a good school district, and that's how he went there. It's hard for him in school because his home life is so fucked up. He does well in school, but there's certain things like in gym class, he had to beg to not be on the skins team because he didn't want everybody to see that he was covered in fucking bruises from his dad beating the shit out of him.
Oh, I thought you were going to say hair because he's Italian.
No, yeah, he's covered. He was a suit. He's a fucking suit. And all the other kids were just as hairy. Are you kidding me? It's fucking New Jersey.
He had bruises.
45 Italian kids, 45 black kids, 2 Puerto Ricans, and a Jewish kid. That was the neighborhood, I'm sure. That's basically every school back then.
Poor kid has bruises.
Yeah, he's got bruises all over him here.
Unbelievable.
He came home when he was 14 with a broken ankle from playing basketball. And this is when he's already boxing in tournaments. We'll get into that. And this broken ankle would make him miss a tournament. And so his father saw him with a cast on and punched him in the face for fucking up. I'm sure he didn't want to break his ankle, I assume. Now, this is pretty fucked up here. He says about his dad, we'll just let him tell about his dad. He says, quote, "He was a very possessive and brutal person. I never knew how sick he really was. I just thought he had a mean disposition." By the way, he's also a brown belt in karate, Robert, also. So he knows how to hit people. He's not just willy-nilly smacking people. His dad's a brown belt in karate when he was a kid. So his dad,
it's just below black, right?
Yeah, it's the one. But his dad, at least knows how to deliver a blow. We'll say he's
familiar.
He's good at it. So he said to this day, he even says it too. He talked about his mom. Then he says, to this day, my jaw hurts when it rains. And that was, after boxing for all that long, it was already in before he started boxing. He says that he thinks his dad's violence was somehow rooted in affection, which is how he looks at it, which is a twisted way to look at it.
Yeah.
He says, quote, "The reason I hit you and the kids is that I love you," he would tell his wife, is what he said, which is what a lot of abusive people say.
Yeah.
That's what OJ said. I just love Nicole too much. I mean, that's not a reason. You can't do that. You know what I'm saying?
They say it cuts like a knife.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah. Listen,
no.
I heard that a million times growing up. I'm doing this because
it's not
I love
okay.
you. It's horrible.
Yeah, but that was the thing back then.
It's not rooted in love. It's rooted in I'm fucked up and I'm frustrated and I can't process this emotion.
Back then, though, especially you have to look at it in context of the community too.
Yeah.
Like violence was considered love.
Right.
I mean, you beat the shit out of your kids because you loved them.
Yeah.
I love my kids. I don't want them to be bums. So I have to beat them unconscious. That's how they were. These
I don't
fucking
want them to
people
grow up to be degenerates.
You ever watching?
Understand?
Here's something everybody's seen. Goodfellas, when they're talking about when Karen there, she's at the hostess party, and all the other women are there, and she's like, they talked about how awful their kids were and about beating them with broom handles and all. That's how they were. And that's because that's what you got to do. Otherwise, they don't know you love them. It's a weird.
Maybe I run in the streets. You don't hit them and tell them you love them.
I can't express to you what a weird, odd place violence has in the Italian culture. It's very odd.
Yeah.
It's a currency. It's just like there's no fucking I can't even explain it to you. It's just my grandmother has smacked me with weapons a million times. It's just what you do.
Even in a congratulatory thank you, I love you, good to see you, you guys hug and then assault each other's backs.
That's what I mean. Smack each other. Hey, how you doing, bud? I love you, pal.
Smack him in the face.
They do that all the time, and that's love.
With a smile.
That means they love you.
And you're supposed to smile back.
How you doing, that pal? Good to see you. Like, Jesus Christ. Knocked a fucking filling loose, and they don't care.
And we're both smiling about this.
Yeah, it's
bizarre.
It's fucking wild, man. It's a weird. I know we're laughing about something that's crazy, but it's a strange culture to grow up in.
It just doesn't make any sense, but it makes all the sense.
Yeah, it does. Now, Bobby said he would tell her the reason I hit you is that I love you, and she would say, then love us a little less, which is a great fucking response.
Wish you just liked me.
Hey, let's get back to I'm not so sure. We'll see where this relationship is going. Can we get to that point? Because I feel like that'd be less painful. Now,
you were just interested.
Yeah. Now, when Bobby, on his 18th birthday, he formally, this is a weird conversation with your dad to have on your 18th birthday. On his 18th birthday, he sat his father down and formally requested, I don't know if it was in writing, I don't know if he put an outfit on and got a horn player or something, but he formally requested that he stop beating his mother.
Okay.
Please, Dad, on my 18th birthday, for my present, I would like you to, not beat the shit out of Mom anymore.
This'll cost you nothing.
Yeah. What did Robert Sr. say to this? I mean, sure. He's going to honor his son's 18th birthday wish, right?
Kick his mom's ass right now.
He said that, quote, he couldn't promise anything, but he would try to ease up on it a little bit.
Wow.
That's what he said.
I'll pull my left next time.
He said he'll try to ease up on the punches a little bit. And I'll just smack her next time, because that's considered everybody smacks each other. This is how crazy this fucking society.
I've been thinking about it, son.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. It's fucking insane. This is what the fuck?
Wow.
This is, I grew up around these people. This is where senses of humor come from. When you look at these people, you either go, yeah, that's what you do, or you go, the fuck are we doing? Are you seeing this?
Why is this a thing?
Yeah, this would be like me and my cousin be sitting there going, you're seeing this, right? Like, this is crazy, this environment we're growing up in, right?
We both see this and nobody's saying nothing?
It's just us. All right. Whatever.
I guess it just happens
it's
again.
Just us. Fuck it. So let's do an in their own words. It's a long one, and it's kind of worth it here. Let's do it here. In their own words, quote, I was baptized Catholic. My father turned atheist when I was 4. All I remember was being an atheist. Now, when he died, my mother was Catholic. She wouldn't say it before because he would kill her. My father was probably the most single, vicious human being. He makes Hitler look like a choir boy, and my mother makes Mother Teresa look like Hitler.
You're saying... Did he just say his dad killed 8 million Jews?
He just said his dad must gas the children in the neighborhood.
Good Lord.
I guess, because, wow. But he said his dad, apparently I think what he's getting at is if his dad had access to that sort of arrangement, he probably would have been enthusiastic for it.
Wow.
Make Hitler look like a choir boy, and his mother makes Mother Teresa look like Hitler.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
So, that's an interesting family.
Yeah.
That's it's a strange way to grow up.
So he's saying his mom's that much of an angel.
Of a saint.
And dad is that much of a piece of garbage.
He's literally, quote, worse than Hitler. If you say someone's worse than Hitler, that's a lot.
That's literally the worst guy.
Worse than Hitler.
So they are absolutely opposites attract kind of thing.
Complete. Yeah, complete.
How's that?
Because that's how a lot of those girls were back then. They'd look for the guy who was...
balances them out?
No, they'd look for a guy who was in charge and was fucking, hey, look at him. He's in charge and he's loud and he makes money. Not even that. It's just a matter of... somebody, they look for a loud guy. It's a weird thing. The quiet Italian women back then, they find some loud husband.
Eesh.
It's very strange. Yeah. So he says, again, quote, I didn't understand that I would go in the ground and never see anyone again. So I used to cry myself to sleep at night every once in a while. It was so hurtful. If I cried at night before my father came in, he would slap the crap out of me. My father used to open-handed break your jaw. That's a slap.
Yeah.
That's quite the slap.
Jaw-breaking slap.
Yeah, that's a whoo boy.
Yeah.
The last time he did it was July 1969. He's 7 years old.
Right.
He cracked me so hard he separated my jaw. 7-year-old.
Wow.
7. He said, quote, I told you the only way you can live forever is through your family or being something special, so stop the crying. He would beat him up because Robert was sad that he found out that people die and that he was going to die someday. So he'd beat the living shit out of him to cheer him up. Feel better?
I mean, the right thing is...
Now you want to die, don't you?
Don't worry, you're only 7. That's the right thing.
You got so many years ahead of you. You know how your whole life seems long? You're going to do that like 10, 12 more times.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you tell, like, holy shit, that's forever.
So far from
They can't even calculate that.
You're going to one day be 18. Doesn't that seem far off?
Yeah.
It's way after
You're
that.
still a kid.
Right.
That's how...
You still don't know shit.
Absolutely. So he was forced into boxing, basically. Also, his brothers Vincent and Tony. Mm-hmm. So Bobby, Vinny, Tony. This is a yeah. Hey, we got Bobby and Vinny, Tony. This is
Jersey.
From Jersey,
Jesus.
yeah. Which is I have cousins and Bobby and Vinny and Tony and
they are
Nicky and this and that. Yeah,
a
same
George
thing.
Carlin stereotype.
Oh, it's just a stereotype in general because it's real.
But it's George and it's bit.
Well, it's everybody.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So he said it's fucking Dom Herrera's whole career.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whole career.
Yeah. Whole thing.
Is this story. So, the story of Dom Herrera. He's not involved in this at all.
Not at all.
Yeah. So he said the boys were, young, and the father believed it would help shape their character. Now, he talks about later on a script was written about his life, and this is what Bobby says about his childhood. Oh, wow. He says, quote, the people who were sent the original script thought it was too violent, and it wasn't even 100% of the violence in my house. It wasn't all the things my father did to me, my brothers, and my mother. It was so toned down, and even that was too much. It's not a boxing movie. It so happens that I chose boxing as my path. It's the story of survival within a family of extreme dysfunction and vicious abuse. Holy shit.
Yeah.
He says, the single most important reason for my story being told for me was I wanted one single concept understood. Throughout recent history, psychologists and psychiatrists all talk about murderers, rapists, and serial killers being abused as children. Well, you know what? I was physically and emotionally abused almost every day of my life for 20 years, and I made a decision not to do that to my family and make myself better. I think the bottom line is you make a decision, and once you make that decision, you do what is correct. correct.
Yes.
That's true.
It's called breaking the cycle in so many words.
That's the point. Yeah, there that is. And we'll find out the fact that he's on Crime in Sports means that he didn't succeed 100% in breaking that cycle. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about him.
His own advice eludes him.
That's exactly what it is. In high school, he played football, baseball, and basketball. Yeah. And he said, quote, I played well in all of those things, but I let it all go. My dad sort of made me let it go just to box. I boxed from ages 10 to 15, actually in tournaments and shit. My brothers were 9 and 7, he made us fight for 5 years. After 5 years, he said we could quit. My brothers quit. So they quit. He kept going. He ended up, Bobby, he's an honor student in school. Now he says, he said he's on the list too. He's a member of MENSA.
Oh boy.
Here. He says he has a 140 something IQ and, he was an honor student in high school. He claims he was accepted to Rutgers, Arizona State, and Seton Hall. Those are very different places.
They really are.
He also says that he was offered an appointment to West Point in partial payment scholarships there.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. And he said he did well in school, A, because he was smart, and, quote, to bring home a B might result in a beating.
Yeah.
That's
a good little incentive.
It's wild, right? Yeah, yeah. So he says, quote, I was a straight A student. I didn't know it back then, but I was MENSA material. I didn't know what MENSA was. I didn't try out for MENSA until in 1993 when I was 31 years old. Try out. He's going to
went and auditioned.
Go do some wind sprints. Get back here. All right, you look pretty smart out there. All right, fine.
Your suicide's a week today.
Hey, it's a little weak. I'm not going to lie to you. I'd like you're going to do some layup drills now. Let's do this. Come on.
Not sure if you're meant some material.
I'm not sure. I'm just saying. I'm not sure. Why don't you show your ass a little bit? We'll see maybe if you got a...
Just take down that third button.
That's a MENSA kind of ass. That's what we're looking for here. We're looking for that MENSA ass. Yeah. He says, when I was 15, I was so acclimated to boxing that I was sparring with grown men, 24, 25, 26 years old. Many times I was 147 pounds fighting men 155 to 160. At the time, they were making good money fighting, or what I thought was good money, $6,000 or $7,000 a fight. To me, $10,000 was a fortune. I'm boxing these guys, getting them ready for a fight, and I'm handing them their head. They're not sparring with me. They're fighting to stay alive. When they got off their Sunday punch, I would just say, nice shot. I didn't mind getting hit. When I did get hit, nothing happened. Well, I guess taking punches every day since you're 4 is going to toughen you up anyway if you're not afraid of contact.
Is he saying that he was a piece of shit because $10,000 was a lot of money to him?
No, he was saying that these guys that were boxing, like he thought they were like these big giant guys because they made $7,000 because back then to him $10,000 would have been like the whole world,
right?
You know,
$700,000 they were making, right?
No, $6,000 to $7,000 a fight. He was sparring with lower level.
Yeah, because $10,000 is a fortune. That's a lot of fucking money.
But it's also nowadays it's not really that much in terms of for a fight, and then when you take the taxes and the manager fee out and the training fee and everything, you're left with $4,200
and 80, 40 cents.
Yeah, exactly. He says, I'm boxing these guys, I'm handing them their head. He says, quote, I don't want to die. My name and accomplishments are in history books for eternity. I'm immortal. I don't think we've ever had a guy claim he's the president of the world.
Yes.
I don't think we've had a guy claim immortality on our show yet.
Not
Small
here.
town murder. People have claimed many. That's a
2, 3, 4,
that's old,
5.
It's old hat. They're claiming to be God. They're claiming to be the devil. They're claiming to be Jesus. They're claiming to be immortal.
It's a wild trope.
Wait till you hear the bonus episode for that this week. This guy claims to be the devil. So he claims to, quote, transcend good and evil.
Oh, boy.
I said, all right, fine.
Fuck that means.
That's all right, then. That's Small Town Murder bonus, which you'll get access to if you sign up on the Patreon for this. So anyway, I'm immortal. Mm-hmm. All right, then. He said that people told him that he could turn pro. He could be a professional fighter, and to him that was interesting. He said, quote, I busted people up pretty bad pretty quickly. I liked the way it felt, and I told my father, I want to turn pro. Let me give this a shot. So, anyway, earlier than that, when he was 10 earlier, when he moved, I just want to get a couple quotes in. He said, when we moved to Wannock in the first week of September 72, I was 10. The very next week, he took me to the gym in Patterson. He didn't ask me if I wanted to. He said, this is what you're going to do. I said, for how long? He said, until I say otherwise. Okay. Yep. Let people punch you for a while. So, he said, the thing is, I was 15 years old. I was beating on guys who were 28 and world ranked as pros. The power I felt beating guys like that was like a drug to me, and I wanted to carry on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think
imagine.
so. Yeah, that would feel good. And you're earning your father's praise.
Right.
When you beat the shit out of somebody, your dad says, "That's a way to do it, Bobby," rather than punching you in the face.
And a child beating up adults.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, guys who are physical age doesn't matter. Because Mike Tyson was pummeling people when he was. I know a guy. My dad knew a guy. He was over at my dad's house for dinner once. Who was a boxer who had was sparred with Mike Tyson up in Catskills there with Customato.
Right.
Like I said, it's all one big little thing here.
Yeah.
And he was a big motherfucker. This guy too. And he said this was when Tyson was 15, and he said he fucking hit like cinder blocks, like you were getting hit by a truck. Never been hit so hard in his life, and it was a 15-year-old hitting him. So it's just. Some people just have the torque and can do it. Yeah. And it's also an anger and it's an aggression and it's letting go.
Right.
You got to let go. And it's, guys, some people can do that. And if you've been hit before and you're not afraid to get hit back, you don't mind letting go. Yeah. I think that's what it is. Guys like Tyson and this guy have been hit a lot.
And he's giving it back.
And then you get to give it back.
Right.
Which
that feels great.
You get hit, it pisses you off, and you want to hit more. So it's if you add some skills with that, holy shit.
At home, my dad hits me, and I'm not allowed to throw another punch.
Yeah, weird.
Here I get to?
Revenge time.
This is great.
Absolutely. So, he says that he looked into boxing, and he looked into university and everything like that. He graduated 6th in his class at Lakewood High School. Out of 350 kids in the graduating class.
That's awesome.
That's pretty good. He says, quote, "I investigated boxing and college. I was going to go pre-med at Rutgers, but I didn't feel I could do justice to both."
Oh.
And both in terms of boxing and pre-med.
Right.
Yeah, if you're learning important medical things and then having them punched out of your brain at night, it's probably not going to be great.
Probably reversing whatever you learned.
And you're going to learn how bad this is for your brain, so that's not going to work.
My graduating class was all in alphabetical order, and I think I still walked around the same rank.
Yeah, either way.
With this W, I think I still walked about the same rank in my high school.
Either way, I'm bottom 8. Don't worry about it. Not embarrassed.
Not at all.
Now, he says that he also turned down an appointment to West Point, like I said, and Lou Duva, who is his future manager, and he's been a fucking Jesus. Lou Duva's everywhere. He was a Vander Holyfield's guy.
Awesome.
And then he was everybody. Jesus, in the 80s, Lou Duva's the short, fat Italian guy with a white pompadour in the corner yelling shit at you. That's Lou Duva. Lou Duva says, quote, "I never found out how much of it was true about how smart he was. In the end, we're marketers. You need a story. Back then, you could color outside the lines." So
I don't give a shit how smart you are.
Doesn't matter. So as an amateur, his career, his record as an amateur was 22-4. He won the Junior Olympic state title twice, which is pretty good. It's a couple of gold medals. He also won the East Coast regional title twice. He won the bronze medal in the nationals. And, and this is like his story very much mirrors Tony Ayala Jr., who was a monster.
Terrible man.
Where Tony Ayala came up and he was a young guy fighting fucking grown men. They actually spar.
Really?
At a certain point here in the early 80s, Ayala and Czyz, they just beat the living shit out of each other basically because they're both fucking animals. So people knew who he was. He would lie about his age to get into certain tournaments and shit like that. He says, quote, "They used to call me the white boy with soul. I fought more like he's basically like Jason Williams here. He's that sort of thing.
White chocolate.
Yeah, he said, "I had a lot of rhythm when I fought. I fought more like those guys did. People still don't understand to this day what soul is. I tried to explain what soul is to a couple writers who have interviewed me. I tried everything I could to explain what soul is. I finally came up with the following analogy, and everybody seemed to get it." Okay?
Took me years. Everything I said kept coming up racist. So
coming up racist, I'm like, shit, I don't want to. No, that's not it.
You know how black people can dance real good, right?
Yeah, but the way he describes it is a little, it's not actually that way. He says, but it is at the same time. He says, if you watch Larry Bird play basketball, he's technically correct. Everything is perfect. His execution is correct. Everything is correct. Then watch Michael Jordan play. You can't describe what Michael Jordan does. It isn't technically anything you can put a finger on, but that's soul. The flat floating through the air with the grace that he has of making the impossible happen. That's soul. Which it's a improvisational technique is what that's more like jazz than soul.
If somebody would have taught him the word athleticism, it would have changed everything.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, I get that though. That makes sense because there's plenty of guys who are athletic that don't play with any fucking soul.
I suppose.
Watch LeBron play. It's dull.
Yeah.
It's dull. He's
very
great,
fundamental
but there's
and basic,
no
and
soul to his game at all.
He can do fucking anything.
Yeah. Oh, he's amazing. One of the best players ever. But you look at it and you go, I'd rather watch Magic Johnson run 2 plays and watch LeBron for the rest of my life. I'd rather watch the same 2 Magic Johnson plays, him running the fast break fucking twice rather than LeBron for the rest of my life.
Well, also,
because it's fucking amazing and fluid and beautiful and
also
different.
When the ball goes in, when LeBron shoots, you go, well, of course it did. Watch what he just did.
Yeah.
When the ball goes in, when Larry Bird shoots, you go, how the fuck did that just happen? Because it's fucking weird.
Well, no, his shot is perfect. Like he said, it's technically perfect. It makes sense. But you didn't understand how Larry Bird had any athleticism that he sort of did in a weird way.
It's a bizarre thing.
But yeah, I think he's sort of getting the deal here. He says as an amateur here, he was trying to get on the U.S. Olympic team, and then the U.S. Olympic team boycotted the Moscow Olympics. So that was a problem. But he was on the national team, who was going to go over to Poland. Problem was, he says, quote, I fell asleep at the wheel while he was driving and hit a tree and got a broken nose.
Oh my God.
He says that being Polish and Italian, I wanted to go to Poland to fight. He says, but the doc said the nose would break the first time I got hit, so I decided not to go. Basically, I'll set it, you'll go over there and get it broken in the first fucking time.
Your face is broken.
Yeah.
You can't go get punched in it.
So out of the whole team, Sal Chenicola and Tony Tucker, Tony Tucker was a great fighter. He got shitty at the end, but he was around for a long time. Tony Tucker, Chenicola, and Bobby were the only 3 who didn't make it, who weren't going over there to Poland. And luckily for him, he didn't go because Flight 7 crashed. It crashed, landing in Warsaw into a military base.
Oh my God.
And everyone on board died.
What?
87 people died on the flight.
And it could have been him.
Oh, he was supposed to be there.
Oh, my God.
The doctor was like, I wouldn't do it. And he's like, I'll just stay home.
It's the best broken nose of his life.
Lucky as fuck.
Wow.
Yeah. He says, quote, I remember that day like it was yesterday. My dad called me at home when I was off school. He said, remember that boxing trip to Poland you were supposed to go on? I got ready for him to go hard on me and give me a fall. And then he said, quote, everyone on the plane is dead. People always joke about a chill going up their spine in certain situations, but at that moment with me, it literally did. I would say so.
It should.
Yeah, it was faulty landing equipment caused the plane to crash and explode. He said, my father told me, quote, they're all dead. I almost collapsed. What do you mean they're all dead? The plane crashed, 100% fatality. They're all dead. Then it hit me. I'm supposed to be dead. Yeah. But I'm immortal, so fuck it. He didn't say that part, but he said it hit me. I'm supposed to be dead.
They're dead. What do you mean? Hey, remember when you were 7?
Yeah. Holy shit.
That's what happened to him.
Wow, that's so... I could see you feeling like you're a little bit kind of
better than
have like a Seth MacFarlane vibe to you at that point. If you, everybody knows the story, but if you don't, Seth MacFarlane, the creator of Family Guy and all that shit, he was supposed to be on the flight, the first flight on 9/11, and there's a story of him as he's on the phone bitching at the person who booked the flight because it was too early. He was like, why'd you fucking book? I said I wanted it later.
Standing in the lobby of
standing in the fucking airport watching the plane hit shit on the TV, and
Never
he
mind,
went,
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Giggity, giggity.
Yeah,
I'm glad I
show
to make.
Giggity, giggity, giggity. Let's have sex. Let's do it. Okay, bye. I gotta go.
Mark Wahlberg canceled that flight. He was supposed to be on it too.
So I mean, that's a. You would feel, sir, holy shit, am I glad I had those 3 extra drinks last night that made my alarm not wake me up.
Thank God I tried to finger a college girl last night.
Fuck for that. Well, with Seth MacFarlane, who knows who he's trying to finger anyway. So he's...
Did I say girl?
We're never sure. Who knows? Who cares? I don't care who he fingers. So he says about this, I love this guy's a quote machine. Yeah. Quote, I'm not a religious person. My mom is very old school Catholic. And when the plane crashed, she said to me, and I quote, son, don't you believe in God now? He let you get into a car accident and saved your life. And Bobby said, quote, you mean he killed all those people to make a point to me? That's just bad math. To this day, she still believes that's what happened.
Genius.
It's so something I would say to my mother. I'd be like, so they killed everybody to make a point to me. That's what we're doing here. No, I don't think so.
Ruined 87 families. For me?
Do you see how...
I'm not special.
This just reminds me of my child, that it warms me a little bit, because just the way he says it, he goes, like... A lot of people would say, I don't think God killed all those people to make a point to me. But the way we would say it is, you mean he killed all those people to make a point to me?
Right.
All right. Like, fuck out of here. You know, it's all, everything is sarcastic.
Right.
And even your mom, you're breaking her fucking balls.
Right.
Sarcastic. So he decides to just go pro after this. We'll get off the amateur thing. Why not?
Give it a go.
So he does it. April 24th, 1980 is his first fight, and we will buzz through boxing matches unless there is something very interesting that happened or someone with a really funny name.
Okay.
Other than that, there's so much going on here. So April 20th, 1980, it's at Ice World in Tottawa, New Jersey. Ice World is an ice rink.
Of course it is.
Where people ice skate, and then they put a fucking boxing ring over to make a makeshift boxing center once in a while. But Bobby will become a very popular attraction there. He's a young guy. Yeah. He's, 18, 19 years old. He's a young guy. He's pretty good looking. All the young Guinea girls all swarm there and like him. And he goes by Matinee Idol. And he's selling out the ice rink just because all these people want to see him.
That's awesome.
He's a local guy. It's interesting. He fights Hank Whitmore in his first fight, who is 0-2 coming in, and will finish his career 0-6-2. So not a great fighter here.
Just a sobering.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
fuck.
Not good.
I am terrible at this.
Yeah. He ended up knocking the shit out of this guy, obviously, and he goes to 1-0 here with a TKO. Next one's May 8th, 1990. So he's going to start doing them every couple of weeks like they do in the first year. They try to get 20 under their belt as quickly as possible because then you can make money once you have 20 wins.
Right.
Then you can fight somebody with a name.
Space them out because you'll have money per fight.
That's the thing. Yeah. When you're making $200, which he did his first fight, he made $200.
Wow.
You got to do them every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But if you're later on, when you make $175,000, you can take 6 months off.
That money stretches a while.
And train. So May 8th, he's at Resorts International in Atlantic City.
Oh, boy.
He is Mr. Atlantic City, by the way.
Yeah.
He fights Jamal Arbubakar, who is his debut. And this fight goes all 4 rounds for a unanimous decision win for Bobby. May 22nd, again, 2 weeks later, on the money. Again, back at Ice World, he fights Dalton Swift, who is 2-7-2. Yeah. Tell you how this one ends. TKO for Bobby. He's 3-0.
Dalton, not so swift.
They're lining up the tomato cans for this guy. And here's my favorite one here. June 19th, 1980 at Ice World. He fights Roland Cousins, whose record coming into this fight is 0-20.
Why do you keep going?
Why would you pass 10 is it? You hit double digits and you still haven't won yet? It's over, bro. I don't give a fuck.
Somebody needs $200.
Even if you win your next 60 fights, you're 60-10, which doesn't sound great. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just not wonderful. This will be his last fight. He gives up after this. 0-21 career. He wanted one win. Just one to tell his grandkids how good it felt.
If the house has 21, you may as well fold.
Fuck it. Fold. So this is a TKO win for Bobby here, obviously, bringing him to 4-0. July 17th, the next month at Ice World, he fights Bruce the Mouse Strauss. He fights, by the way, an inordinate number of white people.
Yeah.
Just an absolutely inordinate number of blonde men.
Why do we think we're any good at
You know that blonde guy that boxed in the 80s?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he's a specific guy. He's all the blonde guy where he had kind of the hair parted in the middle, kind of like that. And when you hit him, his hair would puff up.
Right.
And like the knockout punch, his hair like goes poof up in the air and then he falls down. That guy.
Yeah.
That's who we're dealing with here. Who
Every
he beats the shit out
villain.
of. Yeah. He beats the shit out of the guy who falls from Nakatomi Plaza constantly. All the time.
Yeah.
It's one of those deals. So this is Bruce the Mouse Strauss, which is not a real threatening nickname.
But I'm impressed with the rhyming.
That's all he could do.
Yeah.
I mean, Mouse.
What else do you do?
Sure, whatever.
Bruce Levi?
Yeah. It's Bruce, quote, Levi Strauss. It's very important.
What
man.
else you got?
Comes clad in denim.
Oh, the house? Bruce, the shit house?
In the yellow trunks in the one corner there, we got this guy, and in the other corner in the denim trunks, the cut-off denim jean shorts, we got Bruce the Levi Strauss.
You knew.
You knew it was coming. You knew it was coming. Second I said the yellow trunks, you knew. You knew the other guy had cutoffs.
He was wearing?
Yeah. You know.
It's not even trunks.
No.
They're all frayed at the bottom.
They're cutoffs. He came right from swimming in the lake. He went on the rope swing before he came here.
He didn't even just freshly cut them off.
No.
Those have been cut off a while.
Yeah, there's not a lot of strings even left on those. Just cut off.
It's almost a hula skirt at this point.
That's all. So Bruce is 32-13-2 coming into the fight. He'll end up fighting. His career record will be 78-53-6.
My word.
Holy shit, the mouse will take a beating, apparently. Yeah. This is a TKO in round 4.
That's so many fights.
So many fights. That's ridiculous. If you think about that.
On average, what do you think he made? $300?
I mean,
at the most for all of those?
I don't know what level he got on.
The guy's made $1,000 total.
I believe he was European, if I'm not mistaken. So that's another thing.
Do they got to pay to fly him out, or is that on his dime?
I think they got to pay to fly him. So that's most of his purse. So.
He didn't make much money.
No. August 21st, 1980, he fights Leo Martinez at Ice World again. Mm-hmm. Leo's 2-4 coming in, 2-12 for his career, so he'll never win another fight here. This is a unanimous decision win for Bobby, so it's 6-0. September 18th, back at Ice World, he fights Johnny Davis, who is known also as Yahya Ali. And he's a white guy.
All right.
By the way.
Yeah.
No, this is, Jeez. This isn't like a 70s, this is, his name is Yahya Ali. Okay.
You can see from A to B.
Yeah. He comes into the he's like, if I just give myself the last name Ali, maybe I'll be a better boxer.
Maybe.
Nope.
Is that that's all he did?
Yeah. Worked for him. No, it's not quite all he did. He's also the best in the world before that. He didn't come into a fight with Bobby Czyz with a 3-31 record like this guy. 3 wins, 31 losses.
Fuck.
Jesus, TKO win, 7-0 for Bobby. October 16th, 1980, back at Ice World again. Right. Oh, baby, it never stops. The action never stops at Ice World.
I mean, at best, you get a black eye. After, you just lay down. You just lay down and ice it.
It feels better. Yeah. We don't have ice. Put your head on the floor. No, you got to put it up against the copper. You'll feel the cold coming through. Don't worry about it. It's just that indoor-outdoor shit. It's real thin. Why do you think everybody's wearing a fucking parka in here? What's wrong with you? You fucking bums. So he fights Tommy Marola, who I feel like there was cannolis being sold in the crowd that night. Holy shit, between the two of them. This is a TKO win, 8-0 for Bobby here, December 18th, 1980. This is his Christmas fight. Yeah. Hey, back at Ice World, he fights Skipper Jones.
Oh, boy.
Skipper?
Yeesh.
You can't be Skipper.
No.
And fight?
No.
Skipper? Like,
that's Barbie's little sister.
I was going to say, wasn't that the doll that walked on its own? Skipper?
I don't maybe.
I think Skipper was the doll.
That was also Barbie's little sister.
But okay, maybe that's what it is then.
Yeah.
One of them, somebody tell us.
It was a girl's toy.
It was definitely a girl doll, like a girl, a doll who was a girl who was meant for girls.
Right.
But there was a doll, a cricket maybe that one. I don't know.
I could see that.
It was like a fucking 2.5 foot tall doll that like walked on its own like a fucking blonde zombie. It was disturbing.
I think it was called Emily.
So does it?
I think it was my Emily.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
They renamed it for the new generation. Right. They renamed it. This is the My Emily doll. That's it. And it just stiff-legged walks at you. It's very weird.
And talks to you and says fucking creepy shit.
Says weird shit. So the Skipper Jones is 4-6-5 coming in. TKO win for Bobby, 9-0. Next is February 8th, 81 at the Great Gorge Playboy Club in McAfee, New Jersey.
That's where I see Playboy.
Where all the hot Playboy action happens there, and it's fucking in Jersey. Gross. So he fights Danny Long, who's 18-0 coming in.
Oh.
So this is 9-0 versus 18-0. Danny will be 31-7 for his career.
That's great.
That's good. Good. That's a good career. He beats Danny Long with a TKO in the 5th round.
Wow.
So it brings him to 10-0.
Wow.
10-0, and he's ready for the big time. February 23rd, 81, he's at Caesars in AC.
Yeah.
Not Vegas Caesars.
Atlantic
City Caesars. It's a shithole.
Yeah.
But still, this way he's fighting Irish Teddy Man. Very creative nicknaming there. Old Irish Teddy.
Are there any great fighters named their nickname is Irish? That like
no, they're fucking Irish.
Yeah, that's my
there hasn't been a good Irish boxer since the 1800s.
Right.
That's the fucking point I'm getting at.
Once they invented boxing gloves, their careers died.
Yeah. I know there's been a couple since then, but not a lot.
No.
It really hasn't been a lot.
It's a joke usually.
You guys came in and got settled.
Right.
This is what fucking happens in America.
Yeah.
You come over here, whatever group you are, you come over here, you get into boxing,
Yep.
and then as you get more into society, you get less into boxing.
Because you need it less.
Well, yeah, middle-class people tend to tell their kids to get punched in the face less often than if you're poor and trying to get out of that.
Right.
So that's the thing. And when everybody was poor, like the Czyzes, you get the fuck in there and punch each other.
Fight your way out.
Yeah, that's kind of how it worked here. So yeah, that's why I didn't believe that Creed movie at all.
No.
I wouldn't see it because Apollo Creed's kid would be a terrible fighter. Yeah. He would not be a good fighter. He's not hungry. No. His father is a fucking world champion. He's not going to come up fucking, I'm hungry. No, he's going to come up the first time he gets his nose broken. He's going to be like, I want to do video production. He's not going to fucking do that. His dad's rich.
That's the way my dad died, too.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
I'm not going to do what my dad did.
Fucking A. I got a weak neck. It runs in the family.
I don't want to bleed out on the mat.
Got a weak neck, man. Let's see what's going to happen to me. But I didn't buy that shit for a second. That's why Rocky's kid was a pussy in Rocky 5, because he's a fucking priprivileged little shitbag.
He doesn't need to do it.
Yeah,
he went to private school.
Yeah, that's yes. He can't fight.
No.
So he beats Irish Teddy Man in a unanimous decision, 11-0 for him. Next, on May 21st, 81, man, he's pumping him out. Ice World again. He fights Shotgun Oscar Alvarado. Oh. Shotgun. He's 55-8-1 though. That's quite the record. This is a TKO win for Bobby there. So he's doing very well. He's 12-0. People are starting to kind of become aware of him and starting to notice him. People buying tickets to see his fights. And the Kathy Duva, she's one of the Duva clan there. She's the wife of one of the Duvas. She says about him, quote, he was charming. He was handsome. He had people swooning at his feet. Everyone loved Bobby. So that's what the world is his fucking oyster right now. I mean, literally, he's the king of New Jersey. He must feel so good.
You know, it's weird too with boxing because it's got to be sanctioned.
He gets a sausage and peppers free wherever he goes.
He does.
Bobby, take off a sausage and peppers. Come on me.
At least just the meatball.
At least take a meatball, something. You're hungry.
Take one up to the family.
You're growing boy.
It's fascinating with boxing because he's now a draw and he's in charge. You know what I mean? Where in comedy, this is what you do to be able to go do anything on your own. Yeah. He's still, no matter what he does, he's still beholden to whatever's sanctioned and wherever he can go.
And wherever he goes and whoever's in charge of that and whatever shady shit's going on there.
Still is making money for somebody else no matter what.
Oh, yeah. He's still not making shit here. This fight, though, on June 18th here coming up, 1981 at Ice World is for the vacant New Jersey state title.
Oh, so it's going to be filled tonight.
The king of New Jersey. And by the way, at this point, I should have mentioned this earlier, he goes from welterweight all the way to heavyweight at the end of his career.
Really?
He started out in the 140s, then he moves up into the 150s, fights kind of the most of his career in the middleweight section, and then it comes back as a cruiserweight in the 90s, which is like pre-heavyweight, what Evander Holyfield was before heavyweight. Then he moves up to heavyweight.
Is that 170 and up?
It's like 177, I think, is cruiserweight. 177, that's
hilarious.
Cruiserweight,
Because I'm 175 right now.
Yeah.
I'm not fighting.
No, those guys fuck you up.
That's the biggest 175 I've ever seen.
And those guys are like 6'2" and ripped.
They're unbelievable.
Quick. Yeah, or stocky.
It's incredible.
I'll tell you, that's like at the end of his career, Roy Jones was fighting cruiserweight.
And he looked amazing.
Yeah. This is looking great.
There's a big difference between that and me.
It's called genetics.
Same size. We weigh the same.
Yeah. Let's put you next to each other and see
what? How do you weigh that?
Are you
How
the same species? What the hell is going on here?
This is bananas.
Wow. What happened to you?
Can you make mine look like
Is there a medical problem?
This is crazy.
So here he fights Reggie Jones, who's 16-7-1 coming in. This round, Reggie cannot come out for the 6th round. He stays in the corner.
Really?
So the fight's over. So Bobby wins the vacant New Jersey state title.
Got himself a belt.
I think it's at, is it at Super Welter, I think, maybe, possibly. 13-0 this is for him. July 26th, 81. He's getting out of Jersey.
Yeah.
Doing what everybody does when they want to, every mook in Jersey when they want to go on vacation. He's going down to Tampa.
Yeah.
You know. I'm going to go down to Florida for a couple of days.
Did he go to Tampa for
I'm going
real?
to Florida for a couple of days. I got a couple of things to do down there. Catch some sun, you know what I mean? We'll kick them roosters out of the street that Tampa's got running around. This is at the Sun Dome in Tampa.
Gross.
Yeah. Jesus. He fights Rick Noggle.
Oh, okay. So he's going for work.
Noggle. Yeah, he's not going on vacation, but I'm sure he did plenty. He's a guinea from New Jersey. That's where they go. 14-1 coming in for Rick Noggle, but Bobby knocks him out in the 7th round, or TKO anyway. 14-0 for Bobby. So, you know, he's doing he's doing great. I figured this is a good time to get a Bobby quote in here. Just squeeze a Bobby quote in because it's fun here.
Tampa's great.
Tampa's great. I fucking love it down here. The heat makes me feel good. The heat beneath the gold chains on my neck, I don't know what it is. If the sweat that it builds up, it's like it cleanses me. You know what I mean?
The sun warms my chain.
It warms my chain. It warms my bracelets and all my rings.
I feel like I belong.
I feel like this is a place for me. When I'm about 75, I'll come down here. So he says this is about his life in general and about who he is and what he sees this view of things. Nothing to do with boxing. He says, quote, this is kind of about his parents. I have every single plateau in between both parents and both extremes. I can be the nicest, sweetest guy in the world, or I can slit your throat and dip my sandwich in your bleeding neck if you cross my family, hurt me, or harm the people I love. I have no compunction about it. It was the way I was raised to see the world.
What?
I have never heard.
Why did he go there?
He made it a French dip? What the fuck is going on? It's not jus, my friend. What are you doing?
I can open your head and fucking dip my...
And I dip my fucking... I'm going to dip my veal Parmesan cutlet hero in there. You don't know anything. I'm going to dip it. It's a little dry. I need some sauce. I'm going to dip it in your neck hole.
What a wild thing to say.
I'm going to dip it in your neck hole. Is that all right with you?
I could be a sweetheart, you know that? Or I could do something fucking insane.
Or I could take my Saprosetta Capagol sandwich and I could fucking dip it into your neck hole and get a little bit of, because I forgot to get oil and vinegar when I had to make it. You know what I'm talking about?
I can neck fuck your...
You have no idea how often I've heard people say shit like that.
That's crazy.
That's Italian.
That's lunacy.
Hey, I could be the nicest guy in the world, or I could cut your fucking head off and stick your kid inside your body head first so he comes out of your asshole like you're giving birth to him. That's what I could do to you right now.
What if you're just nice?
Okay.
Nice guys don't say shit like that.
But these are nice guys, Jimmy. Until you cross them, and then they'll fucking kill you. There's a certain pride in the Italian culture in being like a nice family guy and a guy who's like a stand-up guy with your friends and a good person, and then to be ready to kill someone at the drop of a hat also. There's something, if you can have both of those things, that's called well-rounded.
Right.
That's a well-rounded Italian.
That's the difference between white trash and Italian. The white trash would be like, I could be your best friend or your worst nightmare. Like, that doesn't tell me what that is.
No, this is very specific.
It's really painting a nice picture.
You go,
that is certain. I've never even had that nightmare. That's fucking crazy.
Now I have options to weigh. Now I know what the choices are. This is helpful.
White trash. You don't want to cross me. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, why?
I know exactly
this
what
guy
means.
And he said this very calmly. And in a way that he's trying to tell you how nice he is.
Right.
That's how he started out. Let me tell you what a nice guy I am.
Right.
I'm so nice that I could also do this. Okay.
I want you to know I've thought about it, and I know exactly what I'm going to do to you if and when
amazing.
You're a piece of shit behind my back.
You have no idea if you're not like from back there. I keep saying that, but how much violence has currency? How much currency is in violence in our culture? It's just wild.
And how much he's been exposed to that he knows the right route to take.
Yeah, creativity.
To let you know exactly how much of an asshole
This is how
you
much
are,
I want to murder you.
in my opinion.
It's creative. This is how I want to murder you.
That's what happened when you don't pay me back.
If I just killed you, who cares about that? But no, I need to make it so you understand how little I care for your life and how much that I am happy to do what I just did.
If you don't return my lawnmower.
If you bring my weed whacker back with the strings too short. Just tap it on the ground. They pop out longer. That's it. Boop, and then they
make
boop.
Me do
You got
it.
more.
What's wrong with you?
What the fuck is wrong with you? You see.
I'll open your fucking neck.
You see what you did. I got a sandwich right in my fucking hand. Don't make me.
What a thing to say.
Okay.
Behind the closed doors of government offices and military compounds, there are hidden stories and buried secrets from the darkest corners of history. From covert experiments pushing the boundaries of science to operations so secretive they were barely whispered about. Each week, on Redacted, Declassified Mysteries, we pull back the curtain on these hidden histories. 100% true and verifiable stories that expose the shadowy underbelly of power. Consider Operation Paperclip, where former Nazi scientists were brought to America after World War II, not as prisoners, but as assets to advance U.S. intelligence during the Cold War. These aren't just old conspiracy theories. They're thoroughly investigated accounts that reveal the uncomfortable truths still shaping our world today. The stories are real. The secrets are shocking. Follow Redacted, Declassified Mysteries on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Redacted early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer. I can really show you how to make some money. And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
Unbelievable.
It's interesting. So October 8th, 81, he's back at Ice World and he fights Dancin' Dan Snyder.
Yeah.
A dancer, a mouse. He's really...
He's really finding the...
By the way,
toughest of the tough.
He really is. He comes to the ring to the theme from Fame. By the way, it's exactly
really?
Fame is his Fame. I'm gonna live for it. That's what That's what he's coming to the ring to. So TKO in round 2 here, making him 15-0. November 12th, 81. He's at the Meadowlands Arena.
Yeah.
Holy shit for a Jersey kid.
Hell yeah.
That was pretty new back then.
Fighting Billy Ballet.
He fights Elijah Obed that night. He's 86-12-4 coming into this fight.
Good fighter.
That dude has fought 102 fights. Yeah. That's an experienced motherfucker.
And 184.
184.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's 104. 86-12-4.
He won 86.
He won 86. Yeah. Okay, we got it.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
1 versus 1.
Gotcha.
Sounds the same, spelled different.
Jimmie, I got a sandwich in my hand. Don't fucking make me. I swear to God. I will dip it into your neck hole. The name of this episode is I'm going to dip my sandwich in your neck hole. You know that's what it is. That's the name of the episode.
The absolute hungriness.
The hungriness of Bobby Czyz. There you go. Hungry. I have to write that down. Sandwich, neck hole. All right, there we go. Okay. So November 12th, 81 is Elijah Obed. Elijah is DQ'd in round 6. I don't know what the disqualification was for, but he's disqualified, so Bobby wins 16-0.
Low blow, headbutt or something.
Who knows? I don't know. This guy, I don't know. I mean, he's doing all right, but I think Bobby's doing a little better, if you know what I'm talking about. So January 17th, 1982 is the Tropicana Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City.
Jesus.
All the way down to glamorous Atlantic City.
They just was that what Atlantic City was? Was marketed and designed exactly after Vegas?
East Coast Vegas. That's exactly what they wanted it to be. Yeah, just East Coast Vegas. It started out as like a boardwalk.
Yeah.
Whatever. People come there for the health benefits.
I'm tired of flying 6 hours.
Yeah,
to
what
get
are we
to this
doing here?
Place.
Yeah.
We got to get our money. We got to fly 6 hours. Why do we want to do that?
Why do I want to do that?
Let's get one down in Jersey.
No one cared about Atlantic City, though, because it's gross.
It's
gross.
Yeah.
It really is. He fights Robbie Sims, who is Marvin Hagler's half-brother.
Really?
Marvelous Marvin Hagler's half-brother. Yeah, he's a good fighter, too. 12-0 coming in, Robbie is. 38-10 for his career. So,
not bad.
Damn, not quite Marvin, but he's pretty fucking good. This is a unanimous decision win for Bobby. Okay. Bobby Czyz, not Robbie Sims. So, he says at this point he's having a hard time making the 160-pound limit for middleweights. Yeah. He's growing. He was only 18, 19 when he started, so right now he's 20. So he's filling out. Like as he's working out and he's filling out just as a human being with normal genetics. So he's, having a hard time here.
He's maturing as an adult.
Yeah, exactly. He said they were, quote, they were giving me water pills so I'd make the weight. Then after the weigh-in, I'd rehydrate, but there was a strength loss, which makes sense. Yeah. The pills were debilitating. By the 5th or 6th round, I was getting tired against Mustafa. I never fought at 160 again. But his managers say that it's different. His managers say, quote, Bobby and his father were forever arguing over money with the Duvas because the Duvas are managing him and he's going to start fighting with them. And it's all stemming from his dad trying to get into this whole thing and be Bobby's manager to make a couple of bucks or whatever. So they said Bobby and his father were arguing over money with the Duvas. This is Ferdy Pacheco, the boxing analyst. He says it's a repetitive story in boxing. You bring someone along, then the father insinuates himself in the situation and says, I'm the boss, I make the decisions.
God damn it, Mr. Culkin, go
happens,
home.
Yeah, it happens all the time, Mr. Spears.
Mr. Jackson,
how the fuck? Okay, all right, let me ask you this. How the fuck is Britney Spears, how do they keep her like that?
I don't know.
Okay.
Man.
How many fucking crazy people are rich and are allowed to be crazy and rich and spend more money and do whatever the fuck they want? Kanye West is allowed to walk the streets. And I'm not saying, making fun of his fucking mental illness. He has a mental illness, which is fine, and he should be able to walk the streets as anybody else with a mental illness, unless it's totally out there. But what I'm saying is, why is that okay?
Right.
Whereas, I don't know what the hell's wrong with Britney Spears, but...
We gotta lock her up?
Why is she not allowed to enter into any legal decisions?
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
You gotta lock her away and let dad deal with everything?
There's how many crazy rich people are there? There's a fucking so many of them.
How many rich people are there?
So many.
I think that's the number we're looking
crazy shit
at.
rich people that like, what the fuck are you talking? Why is she the craziest?
Why is she the one that we
obviously
it has to do somewhere behind the scenes, and it's marketed that way on purpose to show to. I don't know why they do that to us, and I'm saying they, but there is something sick. I watched Dave Chappelle explain why he went to Africa.
Yeah,
and it's essentially
Actor Studio.
It's essentially that the monster, the whatever it is of people behind the scenes making money are so fucked up that they've got to try to create something that's awful to try to make you look bad, to try to bring it back, to try to make more money. And it's all about somebody else making money. It has nothing to do with them being sick.
That's the whole thing we were talking about, Martin Lawrence snapping and doing that
being
whole
out
thing.
With the gun,
and all that shit.
And anybody that's ever quote-unquote gone crazy, maybe they're not crazy. Maybe everything else is sick around them.
Yeah.
But Britney...
Or they're as crazy as normal people are, but normal people don't have those pressures.
Yeah.
So
I did read an article, too, about Justin Timberlake ruining her.
Yeah, but I see people... You look on fucking... just look on your Facebook feed, and you will see people literally going crazy about their fucking office job where no one cares what you do. At the end of the day, you go home, nobody bothers you.
They get to spend their money just fine.
They're not a pop star where everyone's always taking pictures of them and talking shit about them and blah, 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 blah. Not that that's a hard job, but I'm just saying... Whatever. So obviously that's not the most...
come with everything.
That's not the most important issue going, but I just see that and I'm like... What is she doing in there? Let her go be fucking nuts and spend her money. Who cares? She earned it. What do you give a shit? What the hell she fucking does?
Wouldn't that be fun? To just be out of your mind and with a boatload of cash?
Lots of people are like that.
I would love that.
There's lots of people, especially musicians. How many crazy musicians are there that have a fuckload of money?
Jesus.
Nobody put Hunter S. Thompson in a fucking home, and he was the craziest motherfucker alive. They didn't care. I don't get it. So anyway,
locks up that Aerosmith guy and keeps him from changing his face every 12 days.
That's a good point.
That guy's sick too.
No shit.
Everybody's sick. Just let her be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Leave Britney alone.
Let her be crazy. I don't care. And let Kanye be crazy too. I don't care. Just make him shut the fuck up.
Somebody put a cork in his mouth.
Just don't ruin. Just don't do dumb political shit. I don't care what you do. If Britney starts making political speeches, I'll change my mind. Put it that way.
Put her in a home in New Orleans. I don't give a shit.
I want Kanye to go crazy, or not go crazy, but I'm saying like let loose, talk about whatever the fuck you want, but don't push don't push people on a thing when you're having a breakdown. That's not okay.
Don't encourage your enormous fan base to be as crazy
or talk shit about Harriet Tubman. Maybe keep that.
Maybe keep that one under wraps.
Keep that to yourself, maybe possibly.
She's kind of a hero.
As soon as you start saying something bad about Harriet Tubman, that's when you go, did I take my medication? No. Okay, I got to go do that.
I clearly meant someone else.
And we're not making fun of mental illness.
No.
If we are, it's only because we're so fucking familiar with it.
And passionate about it being fixed.
Exactly. That's what it is. And we're so kind of ingrained in it and everything else. And we have lots of people in our family and ourselves and everything else. So
it's fun to laugh at my own.
Exactly. That's what I mean. That's how it goes. We laugh, and coming from where I come from, you laugh at, I'm going to cut his throat and dip a sandwich in it. That's fucking funny.
That's mental health.
So, that's what I'm saying. So, anyway, he said about the father and all that. Czyz says about that, that's a partially fair assessment, but let's face it, my father wanted a fair shake for me. An injury and I could be out of business. If not him, then who should be concerned? Mm-hmm. Well, he's the one who's most likely to injure you, probably. So May 23rd, 82, he's at the Tropicana in AC. He fights Bobby the Iceman Coolidge, who is 21-2-1 coming in. Okay. Unfortunately, though, his final career numbers are 21-3-1. This is his last fight. So Bobby knocks him out in the 4th round, going to 18-0. He's back at Ice World on July 3rd, 82, facing Manuel Mellon, who's 13-2 coming in. Yeah. And he'll finish 13-3 because this is his last fight, too. So Bobby retires 2 guys in a row. Good for him.
It's pretty incredible. And guys with decent records.
Yeah, not bad at all. Yeah, guys with way more wins than losses.
Yeah.
Christ, the one guy was 21-2.
Right.
That's decent.
Nothing to cry about.
No, this is a TKO in round 2, bringing him to 19-0. Then September 25th, 1982, at the Great Gorge Resort, he fights Chris Linson, knocks him out in the 2nd round. He's 20-0.
Awesome.
That's when you get to, you're going to have some fights, and that's when his whole life gets really turned around. So, grace.
20-0 is impressive.
20-0 is great. That's
awesome.
What they need you to get to make you a contender, because then you can put him against any world champion, against anybody, and 20-0 looks like a good record.
And generally, 20-0 means you've probably, even if you fought a lot of shitbags, you've probably fought a pretty decent guy.
You've fought a couple of good. He has. He's fought a couple. Now, November 20th, 1982. This is at the Convention Hall in Atlantic City against Mustafa Hamsho. Now, Hamsho's a Syrian guy. He's 34-2-2 coming in. And this is a fight that Bobby said he wasn't ready for before the fight. He didn't want to take the fight. Lou Duva offered him $125,000 for the fight.
I'll take the fight.
And he said no. I'd not taken the fight. I said I don't want the fight. So then Lou Duva came back with $175,000, and he had never made anywhere close to that in his whole career cumulatively. So he took the fight at that point. Now this fight ends up going the whole distance, and he loses by unanimous decision.
God damn it.
Going to 20-1. So he says about it, quote, "Things weren't right for that fight with Hamsho. First of all, my manager gave me diet drugs to lose weight, and then they took a lot out of me. And in the 2nd round, I broke my hand, which later needed surgery to rebuild."
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, whenever a fighter hurts his hand in a fight, they're fucked. Yeah, it's so hard for them to do anything because you can't hit with the same abandon.
And in the 2nd round, this fight's over.
You're shit out of luck, and he went
He lasted the whole fight.
The whole way. He said, "There's also pressure on me to win that fight. On that fight to win. Hamsho was a good fighter. Apart from Hagler, he had beaten everyone out there. I lost, but I learned a lot in that fight. He was far more experienced than me, and like Ray Leonard once said after he lost to Roberto Duran, I lost in the fight, but I learned how I could beat him." That's how it was. He claims he injured his right hand early, and he was weak from making weight. And Lou Duva says, quote, "That's BS. It wasn't the weight, it was Bobby. He could have beat Hamsho any day of the week. Bobby just wouldn't fight. His head had gotten too big. You're in trouble when a fighter starts reading his own publicity material and believing it." Okay. So that's his manager. Bobby says, "Not true." Quote, "Not true. The only material I pay attention to is attendance figures and Nielsen ratings," which makes sense. He says that his right hand required a bone graft from his hip, and it took 10 months to heal. Wow. So, yeah. And this, from what he said, this saved him from fighting Marvin Hagler, because if he had beat Hamsho, he would have had to fight Hagler next. And he says, quote, "I could have never beaten Hagler, don't get me wrong. He was a superior fighting machine than I was, but I would also have welcomed the fight, as it would have been a good payday to feed my family."
Sure.
Which is fair.
But Hagler's a great fucking fighter.
Oh, fucking Hagler's one of my favorite fighters of all fucking time. I love Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Like, his fights are just fun to fucking watch.
It's a good name,
will
too.
Fuck you up.
Yeah.
That Hitman Hearns Hagler fight is, watch it. It's like a minute and a half long. It's so, it's like a movie where just two great fighters line up and punch each other till somebody falls. It's absolutely intense.
Just rock 'em, sock 'em.
Fucking A. Hearns and Hagler, man. Oh, it's the best here. So Bobby and his father, they were still kind of working hard to, on their relationship and shit like that. Yeah. Bobby's father would be sitting at ringside for all these fights and that sort of thing here. And, but he said as this went on, as he grew more prominent and the purses started to get bigger, that's when his father was now wanting more control over everything. Yeah. And we're talking about when he's an adult, he's doing this. Here's a quote. The bottom line is that my father was a vicious disciplinarian. I was afraid of heights as a kid. He wanted me to climb a tree that was 35 to 40 feet tall. I was afraid. He said, climb that tree or I'll break your ass. I climbed the tree to the top. He asked, who won? You or the tree? I said, I did, Dad. He said, you know why? You're more afraid of me than the tree. Now climb out of that tree. You know what? I built a tree house in that tree. I jump out of planes now. Fear was the only motivator.
What? You climbed a tree and now you can jump out of planes?
He's not afraid of heights anymore.
You're out of your fucking mind.
Now he's not afraid of heights. He says that his father kind of was a self-educated guy. He became a district sales manager for the National Telephone Directory, so sales manager for phone books.
Aren't those free?
I'd say, don't they just drop them off? And you go, why the fuck is this here? And you throw it in your recycling bin before it gets to your, before you even take it inside.
Throws them on a bunch of doorsteps and goes, 38 sales today.
Hey, I did it. If somebody brought the phone book from your front step into your house, wouldn't you be like, what are you doing? Why'd you take that in my house? Throw it in the recycle bin outside.
Because sometimes my kids eat at the dinner table with us, and this is the booster seat.
And newspapers don't exist anymore to lay down for pumpkins.
We make them sit on these to eat dinner.
No shit.
The white pages are thick.
They're thick, I'll tell you. He said, quote, I know my father was an alcoholic. He never drank before 5 o'clock, but he drank every day after 5 o'clock. He was a functioning alcoholic. Yeah. So he'd get home from work and rip into it. Now, June 12th, 1983. Bobby says, when I lost, it wasn't really a problem for me. I had surgery to rebuild my broken hand, and I was ready to start over. But before I did, I'd grown up in a house that was nearly always in turmoil. Many times you'd know there was something wrong just by walking into a room. Nobody said life was easy, and it can be damn hard sometimes. My dad had his demons. My father used to always say I would never kill myself except for 2 reasons. 1, if I were terminally ill, I would never put my family through the emotions and financial torture. 2, if you don't love me, son. Not your brothers, not your mother, you.
You're the only one.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
So that night they got in a big fight. Apparently, Bobby and his father. His father tells him that he threw one of his brothers out of the house there. And Bobby then yelled at his father, and they got into a big, heated verbal confrontation. Robert Sr. told Bobby that Bobby was nothing without him, and that without him, he would fall flat on his face. And Bobby said that, yeah, you've helped me some, but I don't need you going forward. I could make my own fucking way. And so, at one point they are arguing, and his father saying about, you wouldn't be making money, and it's money, money, money. So he says to his father, quote, tell you what, keep all the money, keep everything. Tomorrow you're dead to me. I have no father. And he walked out the door.
Oh, boy.
So that was it. That's a big fucking, big dramatic thing there. So, he did that. He came home a few hours later. Bobby did.
Yeah.
And he felt bad about saying that. So he tried to apologize to his father. His father would not acknowledge him at all.
Yeah.
Wouldn't accept his apology.
Dead men don't.
Well, no, he just wouldn't accept his apology. Wouldn't do anything here. So, Bobby said, fuck it. Came up. He said he went to bed. This is June. So he turned the air conditioner, one of those window units on, full blast here. And that was that. Went to sleep. He said, quote, when we came downstairs in the morning, we saw his blood and brains all over the sliding glass doors.
No way.
I wanted to find the gun because I was going to shoot myself as well. My brother found it first and ejected the clip. Then my mother came down and called the police. After that, it's a blur. That's
Dad
blew his brains out in the living room
because he said you're dead to me.
Yeah, that was that.
I'm dead to you. I'll give you dead to you.
I'll give you dead. That's Italian spite right there.
Wow.
The guilt. We're good at guilt when it comes to parents are really good. I'll just be dying over here. Italian and Jewish are Jewish, like grandmothers and mothers are very good at it. They're very good at it. It's amazing. I don't know what it is, but I think we all grew up in the same areas together.
Can you get me a water? Just a minute. I'll get it after this.
It's okay. I'll just die, and you know what? It's okay because I've lived long enough and you have a life. You have a life that you need to lead, and that's okay, and that's all right. I'm willing to sacrifice. That's what they'll say. They're fucking crazy. And so this is the ultimate.
He actually did.
Actually blew his brains out. Probably going, this will get him. So, Now, Bobby's 21 years old, too. He's not like he's a...
That's horrific.
That's insanity, yeah. And they all found it, and like Bobby's trying to shoot himself, and his brother's running for the gun and getting the clip out so Bobby can't shoot himself. Imagine the mother in all this. They're going crazy. The one kid's trying to keep the other one from shooting himself, too. Your husband's brains are on the sliding glass door. It's going to rain, so your jaw's a little sore.
Yeah.
There's a problem. Jesus Christ. So now Bobby, at that point, he had a 5-year-old sister because his parents were having kids. Keep going here. So think about it. They're not even, when he's 21, they're only fucking 38.
Yeah.
So he has a 5-year-old sister named Maria. And apparently Maria asked him, quote, was daddy a bad man? And Bobby told her no and not to discuss it out of the house. And he said that he kind of took care of his sister after that because she was only 5. He says, quote, I'll tell you what I came up with many, many, many years after the fact. I think at the time my father was losing control of himself and he was afraid of hurting me or someone in the family. Rather than hurt us, he took it out on himself. Instead of the ultimate cop-out, it was the ultimate gesture of love. Wow. You really had to twist that thing into a pretzel to make it fit. Holy fuck, man.
I'm more impressed that everybody in the house sleeps so soundly.
Yeah.
Not a single person heard it.
Window unit air conditioners.
Yeah, I guess.
That's it. Nobody
That'll
heard it. Yeah, I guess so.
They make that much fucking racket?
Yeah, they
Jesus.
do. And they rattle. They make noises and shit. Yeah, they're a pain in the ass.
It'll muffle a gunshot.
Apparently, yeah. Fuck, man, from upstairs. So, I think that was an act of fucking aggression is the way I'd look at that.
Absolutely.
Now, September 9th, 83 is his next fight. So he's fighting a few months later. And after his dad goes, though, he kind of goes off the rails a little bit. He starts boozing. He starts partying more. His dad isn't yelling at him to train and do all that kind of shit. So now he's like, oh, ladies like me. I like to booze. I'm a popular guy.
He's dealing with anguish.
He's dealing with anguish, too. That's the other thing. So you add all that in, and then that's the easiest thing to go to, especially if you're famous and in New Jersey and a bunch of people around you. September 9th, 83 is at Caesar's Palace in Vegas.
Oh!
The real one, baby.
How about this?
Holy shit.
Oh, it's awfully dry around here. Where's the humidity?
What's going on over
so
here?
Nice
Jesus, I better slit open someone's neck hole because my sandwich is drying out.
Look at all these pools. This is great.
My sandwich is drying. He fights Burt Lee, who's 23-7-4 coming in. It's stopped in round 2, and that's 21 wins for him. 21-1. Like I said, starts to booze it up, party it up, loves the ladies.
Yeah.
Ladies like him. He's having fun. October 25th, 83 at the Playboy Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City.
Yeah.
He fights the Italian Hammer, Bill Medai. Italian Hammer. Hey, he's 12-1-2 coming in. TKO in round 4. That's 22-1 for Mr. Czyz here. February 15th, back at Ice World.
Yeah.
I got to go home to your roots here. He fights Jimmie Schoolboy Baker. Real tough names. The Schoolboy, the Mouse, Dancing. Fuck. 9-7-1.
Fights in a kilt.
Like the
AC/DC guy.
Yeah. He fights in an English schoolboy outfit. That's what he does. Little shorts and a tie.
Right.
Fucking TKO win here, 23-1. May 30th, 84 at Harrah's Marina Hotel Casino in Atlantic City. Mark Frazee, he fights 27-3 coming in. Good fighter. Unanimous decision win for Bobby. He's 24-1. Now, this is interesting. August 1st, 1984, Lou Duva dumps him, his manager. He's on a roll. It doesn't make a lot of sense. He cites at the time in the press that Bobby has a lack of gym work and desire, among other things. And he kind of makes allusions to like that Bobby's either into drugs or into something nefarious that Lou doesn't want a part of without actually saying it. So he basically just kind of puts a cloud over his character without even making an accusation, which is, not one of the greatest things in the world. Now, Czyz says about Lou Duva, he was one of the best matchmakers, if not the best, and he could build you and make you a star, but he refused to pay. Duva claimed while Czyz fought under him, Czyz made about $500,000 in purses. And Czyz says that's way too high. Duva says, quote, we were marketing Bobby Czyz and getting good exposure for him. So when he talks about not enough money and collusion, he's crazy. So at this point, he said Lou Duva said a lot of bad things about him. He says, I was blackballed by the networks. People in the business believed what Lou Duva said about me, and that caused some problems. From 1983 to 1986, nobody gave a damn about what I thought. Duva did his best to put little roadblocks in front of me, but I persevered. Now, he's talking about networks want nothing to do with him for the next couple of years because of Lou Duva. Right. That was August 1st. August 3rd, 1984, 2 days later, Bobby is arrested in his home. He's arrested in his home in Wannock, He's arrested by Bloomingdale Police and Passaic County Prosecutor's Office after a week-long investigation, which was going on 2 days ago when Lou Duva dumped him and said it was because he didn't train hard enough. Or Lou Duva knew he was about to be arrested and fucking dumped him beforehand, which is, I mean, I'm sorry, coincidences don't happen like that. Yeah. Lou Duva didn't just go 2 days before he gets right. This is the time I'm going to cut him right now.
You know that guy that I got that fights 24-1 right now?
That guy
on
sells
the
a lot of tickets.
Fuck that guy.
I don't like that fucking guy. I'm going to get rid of him now because he's a bum.
Right.
Yeah. So 2 days later, someone tipped off Lou to what's going on here, and Lou knew he didn't want any part of him. And whatever Lou said about him wouldn't have blackballed him with networks. It's what fucking Bobby did here that blackballs him with networks. He's arrested after a week-long, like I said, investigation. The indictment accuses Bobby of breaking into a woman's home, a 42-year-old woman, at 7:30 a.m. while she was alone. Then he says he hit her, sprayed mace in her face, and tried to handcuff her and sexually assault her.
What?
Yeah. This is, she's in her 40s, and she is the mother of Bobby's girlfriend.
No.
Yes. This is way crazy.
Bobby's breaking into his girlfriend's mom's house.
Yeah.
To, viciously rape her.
She was cut on the mouth and bruised on the shoulder as she fought back to get away from him here. As they were arresting Bobby, the assistant Passaic County prosecutor, John Lackey, told the press that he had information that Bobby threatened to, quote, kill himself and others if he were arrested. Wow. So he kind of went a little nuts with with that. He didn't do too well here. He's charged with the second-degree burglary there and also attempted aggravated sexual assault, which is not great.
That's a heavy one.
That's a heavy one here. The prosecutor said, quote, he committed a burglary once he got inside and came upon the female victim and attempted to commit an act of aggravated sexual assault. This is fucking crazy. But his attorney says that Bobby's not suicidal. They don't have to worry about him. He's not going to kill anyone, basically, because they were like, well, his dad killed himself last year, so they were kind of looking at it like that. And his lawyer says, Bobby Czyz is the last person in the world I consider to be suicidal. He's bright, intelligent, the antithesis of what people might expect of boxers. He's a golden boy.
Oh, boy.
He's got his whole life and career ahead of him. I don't hear anything about, let's hope he didn't fucking try to rape somebody. I would like to hear that first before you get... This is all, of course, hinging on the fact that we really hope he didn't try to sexually assault a woman.
Right. In no part of that did he say these are extremely serious allegations.
No, none of that shit. So he's indicted on charges of aggravated assault and burglary. The panel found insufficient evidence to indict him on the attempted aggravated sexual assault charge. So that ends up being dropped. Now, his lawyer says, I know my client. He has ties to the community, and I think he deserves a personal recognizance bail. I mean, come on. Yeah. He deserves it. No, they didn't, though. They ended up releasing him. He pleads innocent to all of this, and he is released on $100,000 bail.
That's steep.
Which is not his own recognizance. Well, it's a serious fucking charge.
Yeah.
So, and he's also placed under suicide watch before he was released for it. They wanted to keep an eye on him for 24 hours first. So he's released on a Saturday afternoon. He said they don't know what the amount, if he did bond or what, on the bail. They're talking about, they tried to call Lou Duva to get a comment, and they get no, he's out of town, but his son says, quote, we're shocked because it's totally out of character for Bobby Czyz. We don't know any of the facts at all. I consider him to be a good person, and we're here to help and support him. Whatever Bobby wants, we'll provide. This is 2 days after they were saying he was such a bad person.
Right.
So it's pretty funny. If convicted, he faces up to 10 years in prison.
I would hope so.
And a huge fine. So what does the silver-haired middle-aged white man have to say about this?
Right.
Let's talk about Lou Duva, whose hair is as silver as, I mean, it is just a silver mane.
Right.
He talks about this. He says, I just got back from the Olympic Games. We spoke on the phone once while I was in California and once after I got back. He sounded a little down. I think it's a shame about the sex charges. I think it was all blown out of proportion. It could hurt his career. There was never any doubt in my mind that he's going to be exonerated.
Okay.
So, yeah. So this goes on in the courts, but he's still fighting.
Okay.
He's back at Ice World in October 84, fighting Marvin Mack to a unanimous decision win. January 18th, 85 at the Summit in Houston. Oh boy. He fights Tim TNT Brody, who is 14-2-1, and Bobby TKOs him in round 4, making him 26-1. March 5th, 85, he has a match with Court.
Oh, boy.
This is a tough matchup here in Court. Here he is pleading, and he has to say what he did and all sorts of shit like that. He does this. This is in Paterson, New Jersey. Bobby, in part of his plea, he has to tell what he did. He says he entered the apartment. It was July 26th, which was a week before he was arrested, intending to, this is his words in court, quote, pin her to the floor or chair or anything where she couldn't move and threaten her to stay out of my life because she was screwing up my life. He said that him and his girlfriend had gotten in a bad fight the night before, and I thought it was because of her mother. So he admits that he took a pocket knife and handcuffs to the apartment. This is not something you do.
That's not how you tell somebody to stay out of your life.
No. And so no one would recognize him. He also wore a ski mask and a running outfit. So handcuffs, knife, ski mask.
Right.
That's kind of like nightmare fuel, right?
Yeah.
That's what everybody's worried about.
That's what I picture.
That's what
when somebody breaks into a house.
So people get dogs and shit and guns and stuff for this reason now.
So I have a 9mm while I watch Rock of Love.
There you go. So, it is charged that he sprayed mace into her face and then tried to handcuff her, and that's when her mouth was cut. We don't know if it was with a blow or the knife got her or something, but there was a wrestling match apparently while he's trying to handcuff her. It's pretty wild here. He said that he got into the apartment with, quote, a key that I had that they didn't know I had. That is terrifying. And he said, quote, it's not right to go into anybody else's house when you're not invited, especially with a ski mask and a knife and handcuffs. And Never mind when you're not invited. You didn't pop over with a coffee cake in your hand like, hey, just want to see what you're up to.
And a stolen key
That's
didn't
what I'm
even
saying.
know you had.
It's one thing if you walked in like, with a pizza. That's a different say. I want to discuss some stuff. But
Let's talk this out together like grown
adults. Came in with a ski mask and a knife and some handcuffs, which would make you, I don't know, shit your pants and try to jump out a window, I think, at that point. So... he blamed the incident on his career pressures. That's what he said. He said, quote, there's a family misunderstanding that was blown way out of proportion. I apologize to both my family and theirs for this embarrassment and the time and trouble it took to clear it up. It's not cleared up. It's you're getting sentenced. He said they had broken off the engagement and, quote, hope to shortly be re-engaged and hope to live happily ever after.
Hope she'll take you back?
How the fuck are you going to get married to a chick whose mother you fucking put a ski mask on and broke in and assaulted and maced and fucking beat? You can't.
I feel like there's going to be some objections at that. Does anybody have any objections?
I don't know. A little bit.
See the scar on my face?
Yeah, I don't recognize him without the ski mask, so I'm going to go no here. Fuck. So the prosecutor's office rejects Bobby's lawyer's proposal for a pretrial intervention program that would have led to the dismissal of the indictment.
Yeah.
Instead, under this plea agreement that he adopted, Bobby pleaded guilty to a charge of third-degree burglary. He waived the right to an indictment and jury trial on the new charge, just for the plea. That's part of it. And let's see here. Otherwise, the agreement called for a dismissal of the second-degree burglary indictment, and the prosecutor agreed not to make any recommendation on sentencing, not to try to tell the judge to put him in for 10 years or something. However, though, the agreement allows the victim to comment by letter or in person on the sentencing, so the victim can do it. Though they said the victim's been in constant communication with the prosecutor, and she was in agreement about the negotiations. Quote, she is in full agreement with it. The victim and her family were not looking for any type of revenge. This is what the prosecutor saying. Quote, what they were looking for, frankly, was some kind of acknowledgement by the defendant that he had done something wrong. Yeah. Please say you broke in and maced my mother. Right? Just admit it. Jesus Christ.
Could you just tell that guy in the robe that you're bad?
Yeah, that's all. Just go, did a bad thing.
Right.
So, May 9th, 1985, South Mountain Arena, West Orange, New Jersey. He fights Mike Fisher, 17-6. Do you see why people wouldn't want him on network television? Yeah. That's why he wasn't on, not Lou Duva. That's a problem. Possibly. Yeah. So, kind of a bad look, it seems like. Mike Fisher here is a unanimous decision win, bringing him to 27-1. When there's a list of every fighter has like this interview they do with a bunch of fighters, and they ask best best fighter he ever fought, best feet, best this, best that, best punch, all the superlatives of fighters he fought. Mike Fisher wins for the best chin category. And he says, quote, my hands were hurt for weeks after hitting him. Mike was just a really tough fighter. You could hit him with a baseball bat, nothing would happen. I hit Mike with a 4-punch combination, broke his nose, split his mouth open. He was splitting blood all over the place. After I was done, Mike says, I missed that one. I turned around and thought he was talking to someone behind me. The guy was crazy, but a good fighter. So there's that here. He's trying to reset his career here, the whole thing. And, he says that he came to like a low point here in his life, emotionally,
personally,
but physically he was doing great. July 26th, 85 at the Atlantis Hotel Casino in Atlantic City. He fights Murray Sutherland, which sounds British because he is British. Okay. That's the point. 46-12-1 coming in though. So he's beaten some other Brits a lot. Unanimous decision win, 28-1 there. Now, before the next fight, there's a lot of publicity because it's a big fight, the fight he's going to fight next. There's a lot of publicity about his trauma and, his dad killing himself and all that sort of thing. He says that there's been some personal as well as professional trauma in my life. But my father always said that young men were like a blade being honed for a sword. They have to be hardened and tempered. It's part of a natural building process that everyone must go through on the way to maturity.
And then he shot himself to spite you.
To spite you.
What the fuck?
He says, in many ways, he was my mentor from when I was a baby. I was carrying out his dream of being a fighter, trying to do what he could not do. When he passed away, he left a little cavity in my heart, and I'm still trying to fill it. Yeah.
He says that like his dad had cancer.
And was a great guy.
Right.
And didn't abuse the whole family.
He was a horrible man who shot himself to spite you.
To spite you in the living room so everyone could find him. Nice job.
He did it.
Didn't even go out in the shed or something like a fucking decent human being.
Under the cover of window air conditioning.
Yeah.
So that when you wake up to make bacon in the morning, you find this atrocity.
Find brain. So,
what the fuck?
Jesus Christ. The next fight's a title fight, and it's Slobodan Kachar, who was a 1980 gold medalist, actually, which, if the U.S. would have participated and planes wouldn't have crashed, maybe he would have fought that guy. So this guy's a 21-0 fighter coming in. Not too shabby. Finishes his career 22-2. Oh. So not too far after this. Now, they're asking Bobby about him, and Bobby says, quote, all I know is he's a very European stand-up boxer who lacks the American soul, if you will.
Oh, boy. Here he goes again.
I'm going to put pressure on him, test his chin, test his heart, see what kind of man we've got in there. Mm-hmm. That's what he says. And he knocks, it's a TKO in round 5. So Bobby wins the fight, bringing him to 29-1. This is at the Las Vegas Hilton. It's for a title. Yeah. So he's winning a belt in Vegas now. That you feel like a fucking boxer when you win a belt in Vegas. Next, December 26th, 86 at the South Mountain Arena in West Orange, he fights David Sears. Nothing interesting there. This is David Sears' last fight because he's knocked out in the first round, never fights again. That's 30-0 for our guy here, Bobby. Now, Bobby, February 21st, 87 at the Trump Plaza Hotel in Atlantic City. He fights Willie Sandman Edwards, who's 22-1, knocks him out in the second round. May 3rd, 87, Convention Center AC. He fights Diamond Jim McDonald.
Okay.
Who sounds like he's sent by a company to force African children to pull diamonds from the side of a fucking mountain. Does he not?
Yeah, they had to make him sound flashy with a name like Jim McDonald.
Diamond Jim, I am. Fucking
Jim McDonald.
Fucking ridiculous. 20-3 he is coming in. And Bobby knocks him out in the 6th round. And he says at this point, he says, quote, this is 87, he's 25 years old. I was like a huge snowball going downhill. I could not see over or under or through it. I had to crash. I had the loss, the surgery, then my father passed away. I had weight problems, managerial problems, mono, quote, a minor scrape with the law, but I kept fighting. No.
He had mono too?
Mono in this point, yeah. I was still active, but now I'm back. Basically, I had everything thrown at me and I handled it. Adversity, tragedy, loss, these are things that develop character and let you know what you're made of. There's nothing more than you can throw at me, and now I'm a champion. It's something to be proud of. Okay, that's fine. He's a champ. Give him that. And next October 29th, 87, he fights at the Las Vegas Hilton, Prince Charles Williams, who's 21-4-2 coming in. and he's already fought Charles before. Or, I'm sorry, this is the first time he's going to fight him later on. Okay. This fight is stopped in the 9th for a loss when there's something wrong with Bobby's eye. It puffed up and the fight stopped. It's not Bobby's decision. They close, so the referee stops the fight. So he protests the loss, Bobby does, but nothing happens there. Bobby's mother was crying in the corner after the stoppage, wanting to know that he wasn't hurt as well. He's 32-2. He says, quote, I think I overtrained for the Williams fight. I overdid it, and I think I left my fight in the gym. That fight cost me at least $1 million for a next fight. Now, 1988, let's talk about some women. He was engaged back in 83. We know how that ended.
Yeah, didn't go well.
Didn't go fucking well. Yeah. That's a definite way to end a relationship. Sure. Well, one relationship, he moved, and then I went out with this other guy, and he put a ski mask on, broke in, maced, handcuffed, and had a knife to my mother and tried to sexually assault her, so that didn't work out. And then sex guy just didn't click. So then he says, quote, I was engaged in 1983 and then in 1988. The first time I knew I wasn't going to marry the girl, but my dad had just killed himself. I guess the girl with the other one there. I broke up with Lou Duva and had a major surgery on my right hand. My life was I was just trying to fit in somewhere. Then I met a girl who had finished runner-up in a pageant.
Now.
Here we go.
Here you go.
Here we go.
All right.
Runner-up.
Yeah.
She's not feeling that great about herself, but she's still pretty fucking hot. That's
yeah, but if you tell that girl she got a nice ass, she's in your corner.
Cheer up, sweetheart. Yeah. That's what he's coming and doing.
Listen, they didn't like you, but guess who does?
Hey, listen to me.
Me.
You're number one in my heart, sweetheart. You know what I mean?
That girl doesn't have shit on you.
My book, you're number one. She's fucking hideous. Look at her. She's ugly. She's got a big fat ass.
Girl's
not even
pig.
A good fat ass.
Right.
She's a fucking pig.
It's a dumpy fat ass.
It's a fat ass.
Look
is
at
what
yours.
I don't like
it's all round.
This is beautiful.
I want to chew on it.
So he says she was a sweet girl, very pretty, but her family was wonderful. So wonderful, I ended up inviting her mother and dad and her brother and sister-in-law to my wedding.
Oh.
Again, to somebody else.
Oh, okay. I was like, well, that's what you do.
Yeah.
Her family's so nice. I'd like them around when I marry the daughter.
When I married a daughter. It's kind of nice. They're so nice. When we got married, I said, you know what? Invite your parents. Why don't you go ahead and invite your parents? I don't know. I'm feeling good. Yeah. I'm feeling generous right now.
You're great. I love you. Your parents are
nice.
Your
brother? Yeah. Christ. Don't push it, sweet. All right, fine. Your brother can come. Bring his wife.
And his wife.
Oh, for fuck's sake. That's 4 plates now. Your mother, your father, brother, and the wife. That's 4 plates. It's a lot of plates, you know.
We're going to have to get veal.
$80 a head. Yeah, that's a lot. That's all I'm saying. Says, I still talk to the family to this day. Now, before his next fight, he says that a loss would be a serious setback for me, but I'm not looking for a loss here. He's talking about his next fighter that he's fighting. Andres is his last name. Andres is an awkward fighter, but he's getting up in years. I don't foresee any problems at all. Said, I always viewed myself as a fighter with limited ability, but a lot of potential because of my desire. I'm not perfect. I've been beaten by lesser foes. I don't consider Mustafa Hamsho and Charles Williams great fighters, but they both caught me on less than my best day. I want to keep fighting until I'm 30 or 32. And then he says that if I won the lottery and got $1 million, I would still fight. I love what I do.
Okay.
Which, no fucking way.
Well, here's the thing, man. $1 million ain't shit.
And in 1988, you can just get a good fight and you'll make $1 million.
Yeah.
You don't even have to hope for the lottery.
Don't buy tickets, man. You're wasting your money.
Wasting it. So May 22nd, 88, at Bally's in AC, he fights Dennis the Hackney Rock Andres.
Jesus.
He's from Hackney. Yeah. 30-7 he is coming in. It's a split decision and a loss for Bobby, which is strange. He says that, quote, the Andres fight, I was sick, but I went through with it as it was a $75,000 fight and I needed to feed my family. Prince Charles Williams just had my number. It was frustrating. It was a frustrating time, but I thought one day I still have something left and I wasn't just done yet. I was out only from summer 89 until early 1990. So that's later on. October 25th, 88, Resorts International. He fights Leslie Laventille Tiger. I don't know. 26-3. Stewart is his last name. Split decision. Win this time. Okay. So he's 33-3. Now, this is a time when every time there's a fighter, a white fighter who's not terrible, people go crazy back then.
Oh, boy.
And he always hated the Great White Hope bullshit, he said. He says, as a matter of fact, he says, quote, I understood the great white hope bullshit because that surrounded me all the time. They asked me if I considered myself a white hope. I said, listen, I'm white and I'm hopeful, but not for everybody else, for me. So no, I'm white and I'm hopeful, but not for everybody else.
Fuck everybody else.
For me.
It's for me.
Yeah, I used to joke about it because if I beat everybody in the world who is black or Hispanic or white, that doesn't mean anything other than I did the work. Rocky Marciano beat everyone who was white, black, or Hispanic. It didn't mean anything other than he was a great fighter. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, December 27th, 1988, he fights Mike DeVito, beats him in 7 rounds. 1989, he meets a woman named Kim. We'll talk about her. That'll come up more. March 4th, 89, he fights Quicksilver Virgil Hill, who's a goddamn good fighter. Yeah. And all of his list of bests, Virgil Hill is like best feet, best hands, fastest fighter. Like he's like the greatest fighter he fought. He said he was so hard to hit. He's 23-0 coming in, Virgil Hill, too. He's an up and comer. This fight goes all 12 rounds. For a loss for Bobby, unanimous decision, 34-4. He's got a rematch with the Prince Charles Williams guy coming up here, and he says, this will be the fight of my life. There's no other way to put it. This is Bobby. He says, I either beat Charles Williams or else I retire. I can take my ups and downs with anybody, but I feel there's no way I can duplicate, or no way he can duplicate what he did to me the first time. If he's able to do that to me twice, then it's time for me to retire. He says, I had some physical problems for other fights he was in. Now I'm back to prime time form. I'm feeling good again. I've got the feeling again that I can beat anybody, and I have the strong feeling that I can beat Charles Williams this time. I'm just glad I have the opportunity to get Williams back. After you lose to a guy once and complain about a call, people think it's sour grapes. I have the chance to prove it wasn't, and that he's in it for the fight of his life. I guarantee you that. So, June 25th, 89 in Atlantic City, Prince Charles Williams rematch, and it is stopped in round 10, and he loses the fight again.
Oh, no.
So 34-5. To his credit, he announces his retirement after the fight. Mm-hmm. What he said he was going to do, and he says he's retired. He's not, but he says he is. Mm-hmm. And there's articles in the paper I found in the Courier News in New Jersey, an article called "Past Champ Trains for Life After Boxing."
Oh,
and it's him in a suit, like, hey, how you doing, standing there. And it's a place called La Cucina Restaurant on West Main Street here. And Bobby Czyz is the maitre d' here.
Oh, boy.
Because he says he's learning the ropes. It's a friend of mine's business.
Yeah.
Says, I'm learning the ropes so I can open my own restaurant. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to hang around here, and they're letting me learn the place. Mm-hmm. He says it's a tough business, but it's a people business. And he says, and I like people.
La Cucina?
La Cucina. I like to punch people. Yeah. So, yeah,
that's one letter away from La Cucina, which is gross in Spanish.
Yeah, well, La Cucina is there's restaurants called that all over.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's Italian.
All right. Restaurant. What does it mean? Not gross?
Yes, Jimmy. Not gross. No jizz in it is what it means. He said him and a partner of his, Nick Visco, are looking to open a restaurant, and in the next 3 to 5 months, the food will be continental with Italian specialties, he says. And the marquee's going to have his name on it. It'll be his restaurant here. That's right. He says he can't wait. He'd like to have that kind of atmosphere that he likes. He says, I'm setting up my future. No sense wasting all those years of hard work with blood and sweat and blood in the gym. He says, he wants to do this. Friend of his, the manager at the restaurant, says he picks things up right away. I tell him something once and he knows it. I trained a lot of people and it's not that way with everyone. That's how he said it too. Yeah. He picks things up. I said, oh, people come in, you sit them down. Now he stands there, they come in, he sits them in a chair, puts them right in the fuck. Some people, they go, hey, I don't know what I'm fucking doing. Hey, what are you doing here? You want to use the bathroom or whatever? He's like, no, I'm going to put him in a fucking chair. That's what I do.
Does it mean that?
He knows.
Does it mean pick that plate up? He picks it up. He
picks it up. He did it. No, he's a major D. So he described himself. Bobby says that he's, quote, a big sponge right now. I'm a big fucking sponge. I'm soaking up everything I can. I got neck blood I'm soaking up. I got fucking marinara sauce I'm soaking up. He says that, he says he would like to box again, but he, the price would have to be right, basically, here. Mm-hmm. He says, I miss the roar of the crowd. I miss the people chanting, Bobby, Bobby. I miss all of it. The lights, the camera, TV, performing. I miss all of it, every bit of it. So, 1990 in March, he's back.
Yeah.
Showboat Casino, Atlantic City. He fights Uriah Bossman Grant. Goes all 10, but he wins it. Mm-hmm. So, 35-5. 1990, he gets engaged to Kim that he met earlier. June 1990, Convention Center, Atlantic City. He fights Boxing Andrew Andrew Maynard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Boxing one.
The boxing Andrew Maynard.
There must be another one that's really famous.
I'm going to name myself Joking James Pietragallo when I go on stage for comedy. Yeah, motherfucker, of course. That's why you got a microphone. That's why you got gloves on, dude. We didn't think you were the fucking concession guy. You're wearing boxing gloves and you have no shirt on. And jean shorts for some reason. I don't know how that happened, but
boxing.
So he's 12-0 coming in boxing. He's been boxing. Knocks him out in the 7th round. Bobby does 36-5. September 1990, Taj Mahal AC. He fights. Who cares? Some guy. It doesn't matter. It's a TKO win in the 6th round, 37-5. Now his next fight, Bobby says that Bob Arum, who's crooked as anything, allegedly, signed him to fight Daniels for $225,000. Arum told Bobby that he would have to cut his purse to $185,000, but would give him $40,000 in tickets.
What?
Like a bringer show.
Right.
Like he can sell 40,000 in tickets to sell.
No, bitch.
I'm a fighter. I'm boxing people. What am I going to fucking go out and?
I got to stand at the door and collect the money.
Sell tickets to people.
You got to give me tickets and I got to walk around and sell them.
It's ridiculous. So he says, "quote So you know what Arum does? He calls the newspapers and tells them he gave me the tickets. I didn't know that until I went to sell them, and they say, well, you got them for free. I had to tell them that I made a deal with the casinos to sell the tickets at half the price for the high rollers, so at least I got half."
Oh my God, he's got to.
So he got fucked up.
He actually has to go.
He has to
sell
buy tickets. He has to sell tickets, and he only got half the money for it. Even.
Oh, that's the worst.
That sucks. He got fucked so hard.
Actually do that.
Oh, they do it all the time. Boxers, I've never heard of it before.
No.
I assume in maybe the lower levels, but not when you're in a casino fighting on television.
Go get your cardio and run around the block and sell these.
That's what I mean. Hey, look, you want to see me fight later? Hey. So March 8th. I swear to God, look at me. I'm running. March 8th, 91. He's at the Trump Taj Mahal in Atlantic City for the WBA Cruiserweight title. And he fights Robert Preacherman Daniels, who's 19-1-1. And this fight goes all 12 rounds. It's a split decision win for Bobby. So he wins the Cruiserweight title. This is back in the higher weight class. Yeah. And then he decides after that to marry Kim.
All right.
1991, he gets married. July 1991. Oh, man, how much do we go over of this? Because this is crazy. Okay. This is almost like a whole separate episode on its own, but we'll get over it quickly. There's a guy who, Carlo DeUlius is his name. He's known as Carlo D. Everybody calls him Carlo D. Now, Carlo D came on to help Bobby out with management and promoting after Lou Duva left and his father killed himself in 1986. Okay. Now, what ends up happening in 1991, well, let's catch up on it here. This is what Bobby says. We worked out a deal and it was okay. Carlo was with me when I first won the world title and became International Boxing Federation light heavyweight champion, but I'm sure I lost some revenue because of his lack of experience in the promotions here. Now, what he ended up doing is, over the course of this guy is all sorts of hooked in with mobsters, as we'll talk about from a federal trial that Sammy the Bull Gravano testifies.
Oh, no.
Yeah, this guy is all sorts of deep. This is the thing that is a thing. I know it's a stereotype, but it's really hard to be involved in anything back there, especially in the 80s and early 90s and, less than the 70s and 60s, but still huge in the 80s and 90s, and not have the mob somewhere in your fucking business because it's just the way it was. Right. And especially in the entertainment area, and especially they have cash to put up for training, for things like that. And so the 85, as we'll hear from Sammy the Bull, is when John Gotti decided, or 86 is when John Gotti decided that they wanted to get the Gambino family back into boxing because the purses were becoming so big.
Really?
Yeah, there was millions of dollars in purses. Like, if we manage one of these fucking guys, it's our guy. We get, this chunk of that. That's a big chunk of money.
Is that what they
And it's
did?
fucking legal. Yeah, you buy, they buy restaurants or buy a piece of Boxer. You buy that. You're in illegal businesses too.
Yeah.
Diversify your deal here. So what he did is this Carlo D, apparently, they had told the U.S. District Judge here that he lied to officials of 3 banks in order to obtain loans and then gambled the money away.
Oh, you asshole.
Yeah, they said he told the banks money was being used to promote Bobby Czyz's boxing matches because he was his manager. But instead, and the banks, knowing Bobby Czyz was a championship boxer, gave him the money, expecting to be paid back from the substantial proceeds from the matches. But instead of using the money for seed money, Carlo D spent it on personal and business costs. It's fair to say he used the money to fund a lavish lifestyle, and he was apparently a very heavy gambler, they said here. They also says Bobby Czyz had nothing to do with Carlo's business affairs. He was just promoting him. So he said, what is this? Jesus Christ. They're talking to Bobby about it, and he's talking about coconut shrimp. Interesting here. So Bobby says that it was nothing for this guy to spend $10,000 a day at the track. Jeez. This Carlo D guy. So that'll get you no matter what. He says that was the first indication of problems. I think those problems he couldn't get out without a big hit. So they split up in late 1987, and Bobby says he really couldn't bring to the table the things I needed. He couldn't get the money or the financing, but we split amicably. I still like him, but I wouldn't lend him money. They said altogether he defrauded a bank of about $2.2 million in loans and checking account overdrafts, and also defaulted on $200,000 in loans from another bank and $50,000 in loans from a different bank.
Does that fall under his umbrella? Not
on Bobby.
Oh, thank God.
It doesn't fall on Bobby. They said he wasn't involved. This guy was just using his position to say that that's what he was doing. Carlo D faced a maximum of 12 years in prison. Bobby said, I had to see somebody who had so much let the disease of gambling get the best of him. He lost everything, and that's sad. I'm sorry for him. I'm also sorry to see my name get dragged through the courts. The whole thing is just kind of tragic. Yeah. Not really tragic. It's really pretty much this guy was in deep with the fucking mob. As we find out from see that typeface and all that? That's from federal court documents there. That's pretty official looking there. That's not my handwriting or my typing on the computer. This is a copy, a PDF of this. Carlo D, they said, is better known as a restaurateur and a boxing promoter. He operates the Meeting Place restaurant, at the time a hangout for organized crime members and associates. He promotes boxing exhibitions under the corporate name of Carlo D Enterprises. A friend for 20 years of Andrew Lucari of Livingston, who's, you know who he is. He's a Lucchese crime associate. He became active and that's the Lucchese's are who.
That's who he's involved with.
Yeah. So, well, that's who I. Never mind.
Yeah.
So anyway, he became active in professional boxing from an early fan of boxer Bobby Czyz, in whom Lucari subsequently bought a financial interest.
Okay.
So Bobby Czyz, whether he knew it or not, Carlo D was just a front man for this Lucari guy to buy an interest in
his fight,
in Bobby Czyz, basically. Right. This was a way for the mob to get into this here. After a stint as a Jersey licensed boxing manager, he became a licensed promoter in June 1982 and also became a licensed matchmaker. And the Ham Show fight, that was a thing here. They talk about this. Carlo D recalled a promotion he arranged through Alfred Certamiso, more widely known as Al Certo, who's a famous mobster. I don't know if he's famous, but back east he's famous. A Secaucus Taylor, a Genovese crime family associate. Certo was a self-described booking agent for Mustafa Ham Show. Mm-hmm. That's why they are insisting that he fight him. Remember, that's why Lou Duva kept coming back with more money.
Right.
And wonder how Lou Duva would have known of an ongoing police investigation that was going to happen 2 days later, if only he had a connection to the police departments, like a mob guy. So anyway, well, alleged, I'm just saying.
Just seems to work out.
Seems to work out great here. On August 16th, 1984, Ham Show, only 2 months before he was to battle Marvelous Marvin Hagler for the world middleweight title at Madison Square Garden, appeared at the Ice World Arena for an exhibition of sparring with little-known boxers under the auspices of Carlo D Enterprises. Then Ham Show risked injuries that might have affected his performance in a championship bout worth hundreds of thousands of dollars to him, suggests the influential clout of organized crime figures with whom he was associated. At the Tatua event, D was observed in deep discussion with Certo during which he handed Certo a packet containing $2,000. So,
He's paying the boss in front of everybody?
This goes on and on and on. I figured I'd just give you the tip of it. I mean, it's a 50-page document of all thick shit of what's going on. And we haven't even got to Sammy the Bull yet,
right,
who comes in and testifies about it.
Really?
This is what I mean, yeah. August 9th, 1991, he fights Mr. President, he calls himself, Bash Ali. Mr. President.
Okay.
All righty.
I think Bash Ali's enough.
Yeah, Bash.
Right.
That's great. Mr. President, you don't need it. So all 12 rounds, unanimous decision win for Bobby. Next, he's in the Riviera in Vegas, May 8th, 92. He fights Golden Boy Donnie Lalonde, who is 35-3. This goes all 12 again, but a unanimous decision win for Bobby. March 1993, he still got his title, by the way, that he won. So he's got this title. March 1993, he is hit by a car.
Oh, no.
Yes. He said he suffered a mild concussion, strained lower back, bruised ribs, bruised hip bone, tendonitis in his right wrist and shoulder. Spent a bunch of time at the hospital and all this.
Blasted.
Yeah, he said he was at the home of his buddy, Tony Paglucci, who works in his training camp, when a car pulled into the driveway. The driver had to turn around a pile of snow 5 or 6 feet high and pulled in too quickly. He skidded on the ice and plowed into me. He said, I was in the hospital for a long time. I had needles in my spine. I had injections of Botox. I had a clip on my, I don't even know, muscle, and try to train again. I shouldn't have done that, but I decided to take the chance. Even when I came back, I wasn't right. Okay, we'll talk about that. Now, his marriage... He talks about here. He says, my mom was special to me. I patterned a lot of my expectations after my mom. She's a loving, caring, wonderful, nurturing person. My mom was drop dead gorgeous. That's his wife. Kim was a model, drop dead gorgeous too, with the morals of a saint. On our first date, she told my mom, you must be a saint the way your son talks about you. He introduced his date
on the first
date to his mom.
That's nuts.
This is my ma.
Hey.
So, okay.
Let's go have dinner, and then right after,
then we're going to meet my mama. She'll be cooking the dinner. That's how you're going to meet her. Kim was everything I was ever promised. The problem was I spent so much time chasing what I was told I was supposed to look for. I got exactly what I wanted, but what I wanted wasn't exactly what I needed. Believe it or not, from 1989 when I met Kim until 1993 when my daughter Mercedes was born, I was actually faithful. I had my issues with wanting sex 2 or 3 times a day, and about 18 months after the birth of my daughter, I was at the point of a little crazy. So we had some issues. She said, maybe we should spend a little time away from each other. I said, my ass already left. I want to catch up to it. My ass already left. I want to catch up to it. Wow. The look on her face was like I had shot her with a bullet. He moved in with his friend for 6 months and then moved back in. So he moved out and moved back in. April 1993 is the Senate investigation, the United States Senate, not like even a state thing, where Sammy the Bull is on his testifying tour here. So they talk about, this is about a guy named James Buddy McGirt, who was co-managed by Gambino Associates, basically. They talk about that. Sammy the Bull discusses how, that Jojo Carozzo owned a piece of McGirt, and Al Certo also, and that the boxer's co-manager, Al Certo, is also a fucking gangster, which we know Al Certo from before. So he also said here that the subcommittee reported that organized crime figures are associated with at least 2 other prominent boxers: World Boxing Association cruiserweight champion Bobby Czyz and super middleweight champion Iran Barkley. Czyz and Barkley told Senate investigators in earlier interviews that they did not believe they were associated with organized crime figures.
I don't think so.
Yeah, Gravano, this is very interesting. He said that the Gambinos wanted to benefit from boxing, and that John Gotti, it was at his direction that the Gambinos were trying to re-enter the boxing business in the late 80s. He said, the interest now is getting a piece of a successful boxer. Now, because of the size of the purses have gotten so big, organized crime is more and more interested. He said that at one point, Gravano tried to buy Gleason's gym in Brooklyn, which is a big famous boxing gym. He said, John Gotti urged me to put together some possible gym purchases and promotions and fighters to see if we can get back in the boxing industry. Gravano was a boxing fan, and he used to be an amateur boxer. Christ, I wish he had one professional fight. He'd be the greatest episode ever. Oh, my God. You have no idea. So he said that I wish I could just find one of his fights. I'd be like, good enough. 1-0. We're doing it. So apparently, Gravano testified how he apparently arranged a fixed fight between heavyweights Francisco Domani and Ronaldo Snipes. Gravano testified that he met in Atlantic City with a representative of Donald Trump. The Trump rep told us that the fight would sell. He thought it would be even bigger if Snipes had a high ranking with one of the boxing's world sanctioning bodies. Yeah. Gravano said he later met in Vegas with a referee, Joey Curtis, to see if, quote, he could get Snipes moved up in the rankings.
Yeah.
Gravano said Curtis said that this would cost $10,000, but because it was a favor for John Gotti, he might be able to get it done for $5,000. Interesting. Now, Don King, okay?
Yeah.
Don King, apparently, Gravano's trying to talk to Don King about something to put together with Gotti, and Gravano goes back to John Gotti and says that Don King doesn't want to play ball. Yeah. He tells Gotti, quote, he says he's a street guy, and he says that he's not doing shit, basically. I'm a street guy, and I'm not afraid of shit, is what Don King says. So he said that he's not having a lot of luck. He says Don King tells Sammy tells John Gotti, Don King stands up. He don't want no part of this thing. He says they mimic Don King. I'm a tough guy. I went to jail for this and that. Fuck John, I'm not doing any of that bullshit.
Yeah.
So then John Gotti said, you tell him to mention my name. And Sammy said, yeah. And he says that he didn't care. He's a tough guy and he did time. Don King.
He's not afraid of John Gotti.
Yeah. So John Gotti said, really? So then he hung up and called him back and he says, tell you what, Sammy, kill Don King. While you're out there, fucking kill Don King for me. Fuck him. I don't know who he thinks he is. Blow his fucking brains out.
What?
Period. So he says, Sammy says, this is in court in the Senate. He says, quote, you want me to kill Don King?
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't care. I'll do it if you want it. But is that what you're saying? So he said, John Gotti said, quote, no, not you. He said, not you, you fucking idiot.
Just have it done.
Yeah. He said, not you, the kid, because he had somebody with him, obviously. He said, have him fucking do it, stupid. Obviously not you. They all know who you are. So he said to concoct a proposal, and if he says no and gives you any of that shit, take the gun out and shoot him right in the fucking head right there. Done.
Wow.
Yeah. And so the kid said, quote, you want me to kill Don King? And apparently they looked around and Don King had left town. They couldn't find him anymore after that. And then Gotti got busted and the whole thing happened. But Don King was on the hit list.
Don King should thank his...
very fucking lucky he did not run back into Sammy Gravano that night.
Wow.
Because he would have most certainly had a hole in his fucking head there. If John Gotti said to kill the guy, he's dead.
He's dead.
Period. Whether it was smart or not, that was what it was going to happen. So February 19th, 1994, he's in Charlotte, Bobby is. He fights George O'Mara, not Sammy Gravano. Goes all 10, unanimous decision win. So Bobby says, quote, to this day, they'll say to me, you're pretty smart for a fighter. I say, so if I'm a carpenter, I'm stupid. They'll say, you're not bad looking for a fighter. I'll say, if I'm a lawyer, I'm ugly. The connotation of a fighter is such a derogatory term that people just can't believe certain things. Listen, I'm a member of MENSA. I'm in the top 2% of people in the entire world when it comes to intelligence. What do you mean I'm smart for a fighter? I'm smarter than you. I'm either intelligent or I'm not. I'm either attractive or not. It has nothing to do with my profession. Which, if he left out a chunk of that, it's fine. But then he had to throw in all the MENSA shit. He loves to talk about...
Right. I get it, you big-titted blonde.
You're
also smart.
He loves it. Yeah. And you're cool, and you'll go to the strip club with the guys. We understand.
The problem is the vast majority of whatever you are not what you are.
Exactly.
So you get a bad rap. I understand. I'm white trash. People think I'm dumb. I happen to be very dumb.
Sometimes stereotypes work out. So August 4th, 94, he's at Foxwoods Casino fighting David Izaguirre. Yeah. Izaguirre, I think his name is. I never knew how to pronounce his name. 15-0 coming in, 23-1 for his career. Czyz is knocked down in the fourth round, and Bobby can't come out for round 5 for whatever reason. He's hurt, so he loses that fight. He's 41-6. Right around this time, too, he gets an analyst job working for Showtime. So he's like part of a 3-man crew in the booth for Showtime fights when he's not fighting.
Unbelievable.
So he's like the analyst, which he's a good analyst because he's very honest. He's very Italian honest, we'll put it that way. He's like, I don't know, I think this guy's a bum today. He's not really doing anything. The other guy, if he doesn't want to get knocked out, he better start moving around. Like, he's shit like that. He's really tough on the fighters, and even tough on Showtime, and he's just honest. So March 24th, 95 in West Orange, all the way back there, fights Tim Doughboy Tomaszek.
Oh, no.
Puts the fear of God in my heart. I don't know.
Oh, poor fat fuck.
51-11 he is coming in, but TKO win for Bobby, 42-6. He's in September 95. He's back in West Orange fighting Jeff Williams, who's just as boring as he sounds.
I know a guy named Jeff Williams. Probably.
Everybody does, I think. It's very common. So that's another win. Next fight he has is against Richard Action Jackson.
Hell yeah.
Down in Biloxi at a casino. And he says about this, quote, he disrespected me. He said I was old and too slow and that he'd kill me. He said all of those things, but in the fight, he didn't do any of the things he said he would. And Richard Action Jackson's 19-0 coming in, and Bobby beats him with a 6-round TKO, bringing his record to 44-6. Next up for the fight for him is Evander Holyfield.
What?
Evander Holyfield, winner gets Tyson. That's how this works for a big money fight.
And he's in.
He's in. He's fighting Holyfield. Holyfield's fighting him because Holyfield thinks he's a pushover, and it's an easy win for him, and he'll get a little payday here.
He's already training for Tyson.
Yeah, he's already training for Tyson, and he didn't. Holyfield, it's known that he didn't train much for the Czyz fight. Didn't train well.
Yeah.
Now, Bobby says, I read somewhere where somebody said Evander Holyfield was going to snack on a Czyz burger. He said,
Clever. I like it.
I know the odds are long against me winning. It would be easier if I were fighting a guy with one arm, 2 wooden legs, and a kickstand. That's why this is going to be such a great accomplishment. Well, yeah. It wouldn't be an accomplishment to fight a fucking old man. He says, quote, the way I look at it, 3 things can happen, and 2 are bad for Holyfield. If he doesn't knock me out in the first 4 or 5 rounds, he loses stature as a heavyweight, because this guy's a cruiserweight. Right. If I go the distance, I gain stature even if I lose, a la Rocky 1. If I beat him, he's done. He might as well retire, because, Holyfield loses to Bobby Czyz, you're done. No one wants to see you fight Tyson now.
Yeah.
He said,
like a tiny guy fighting a big guy.
Kind of, yeah.
Not many losses coming at me right now.
And Holyfield started out as a cruiserweight too, but Holyfield's a lot bigger than Bobby by this point. Both of us are past our prime. Neither of us are at the height of our career. Anything can happen. I've done my homework. He's taking me lightly. He doesn't know what to expect from me. He expects someone who can't hurt him. He expects a blown-up cruiserweight, but I can surprise him. He doesn't know how hard I've trained for this.
Okay.
So, Madison Square Garden, May 10th, 96.
And Bobby, at risk of sounding like a homosexual, Holyfield is...
He's a specimen.
He is gorgeous.
He's a specimen.
He looks amazing.
Yeah, he's insane. He's 31-3 coming in, Holyfield. And this fight goes 4 rounds, and then the 5th round, Bobby can't come out. His eyes are fucked up, and he's claiming cheating. So Holyfield
he looks
wins.
Too great. He boxes
he's
like
handsome,
a boxer.
Huh? He claimed that somebody in Holyfield's corner put hot sauce on his gloves, Holyfield's gloves, to hurt Bobby Czyz, and he still believes it to this day.
Really?
He says, he says still believes it now. He says that Bobby couldn't see, and Bobby's eyes appeared red and inflamed, and that the referee did examine Holyfield's gloves, and Bobby told everybody the next day that skin peeled off his face from his forehead to his chin, where he was hit with the hot sauce. And Czyz, he quotes also, Czyz said that Holyfield headbutted, elbowed, forearm, thumbed him, and that he was a dirty fighter, which he is.
He fought like Holyfield.
Is the most overrated, dirty fucking fighter ever. He's a cruiserweight that got his way up to a heavyweight and needed some tricks to be able to fucking contend, like holding and headbutting, because that's all he fucking does. Great fighter, but as a heavyweight, I just can't watch it.
The ref inspected his gloves, rubbed it on his taco, and said, "This is delicious."
Delicious. Bobby says, I've never been able to see right since that fight, I'm telling you. My vision was 20/20 before that fight, and afterwards, maybe 20/40. My face burned painfully at the end. The days after all my skin peeled off from my chin to my forehead. I've been boxing 20 years and had never experienced anything like it. And he says, someone put something on Holyfield's glove. I don't think it was Evander. I think it was his corner and Don Turner. In the gym, you may rub Vaseline on a fighter's gloves to stop cutting and marking up during the sparring. But in a fight, you don't rub anything on them as you want to cause damage in the fight. Look at the tape of the fight. From the second round, Turner is continuously rubbing Holyfield's gloves between rounds. He says, by the way, even today, Bobby Czyz says he doesn't like Evander Holyfield. He called him the ultimate overachiever.
Wow.
Which I agree with. He said, quote, he's just full of it. That bothers me. I don't know. Whoa, this is great. I don't know what religion it is that says you can have 12 kids with 9 different women and not be married to them, and that's okay. He's a fraud. He was a 188-pound cruiserweight, and then he went to 218 pounds. You cannot gain 30 pounds, lose body fat, and maintain that physique without artificial enhancement. By the way, sue me if you want. That motherfucker's
That's a great point.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
His Holyfield was on a lot.
Those muscles behind
not
the
allegedly,
shoulders,
yeah.
traps,
Bullshit.
Enormous.
They look like Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
That does not happen naturally, neither for Brock Lesnar.
Or maybe it was
Fuck
just
outta
because
here.
he was fucking all the time.
I guess. He says, it can't be done. Not possible. He gets a pass in the media for one simple reason. He believes in God. That's so fucking true.
Yeah.
He came out, everybody in the 90s would do all these, what a wonderful man, Holyfield. And you talk, well, the Lord and the God and the Holy Father. He's got 12 kids he doesn't give a fuck about. None of his life. And I don't care how many kids you have.
Right.
That's what I mean. I don't care what you do. Just don't be a hypocrite about it. If he's like, I love fucking, I got 12 kids, I pay for them, I don't give a fuck. Great. But he's out there going, I'm a man of God and everybody should just like me, and Mike Tyson's a bad guy and I'm a good guy. It's like, I don't know. He doesn't have 12 kids with 9 women. That's something.
Religious guys tend to have the most kids.
Yeah.
It's called the
Believe in
cult.
birth control. Now, the gloves were actually taken to the New York State Police Crime Lab for testing.
Yeah.
I really hope there was no, a murder, a sexual assault, like a rape kit waiting on the fucking counter next to it while they tested gloves for hot sauce.
In the New York City crime office in what year?
1996.
There was.
Yeah, there was.
There was something they could have been doing.
The report, which was reviewed, showed the only substance found on Holyfield's gloves was the primary ingredient in Vaseline, which is what Bobby Czyz would have had on his face. So that would have been there. Yeah, it's henna cosaine or some shit. That's
really?
The active primary ingredient. Okay. November 3rd, 1997, Bobby is arrested.
Oh, boy.
He is in Old Bridge, New Jersey. He's in a 2-car collision here. Yes, he is charged with drunk driving, failure to submit to a breathalyzer test. Apparently his vehicle swerved into the right lane and struck the fender of a car driven by a guy named Mario Lombardo.
Oh, boy.
Everybody in this hey, Mario, I hit your fucking car. I'm sorry. I hit the fucking thing. I couldn't see where I was going.
Holyfield had hot sauce on the gloves. I can't see shit anyway.
My eyes
and I'm drunk.
They're all fucked up, and I'm trying to dip my sandwich in this guy's neck hole in my passenger seat. I got a lot going on right now. Sorry.
I'm drunk as shit. I can't see.
They stopped at a gas station here, and the police responded, and Old Bridge police officer charged Bobby with drunken driving, refusal to take a breathalyzer test, and improper use of dealer plates. Yes.
Not good.
No, not at all. Apparently, they also... Their summons is charging him with leaving the scene of an accident and careless driving from another thing that happened to him at another time. He got his...
He had a bad night.
He paged his attorney and asked over the phone if he should submit to a breath test. This is on the street. He did this. And his attorney said, quote, when Bobby was arrested, he was asked to speak to his attorney, which is not uncommon. It's his right. I asked police if he could take the breathalyzer now, and the lieutenant said no. Bobby refused. Whether there was actual refusal still has to be determined in court. Apparently he refused, then talked to the lawyer, and then tried to say, okay, I'll take it. And they said, nope, you already refused. So that's a charge. And he also says if he wasn't sure if the police performed a field sobriety test, which they did, and he failed, but still. By the time Bobby talked to his attorney, it was too late. And his attorney says, the prosecutor said his obligation by merely having a New Jersey driver's license is to take the test. That's the law. If you refuse, you don't have to be offered the test again. Apparently that's the law. November 13th, 97, court for DUI here. He pleads innocent on charges that he was drunk there. They said that Bobby's never been charged with something like this before. His lawyer says he will in the future. Don't worry. There's really no...
He's charged with aggravated sexual assault. That's way worse.
It's not like this, though. It's different. It's a lot different. This was at 12:30 a.m.
It's like saying Bundy was never charged with shoplifting.
Who
gives a shit?
He might not have been. That's the thing. It's true. He is sentenced to basically This first one, a 6-month suspension of his driver's license is the first thing here. June 12th, 88, he's fighting again.
Yeah.
This will be his last fight, I believe, here. Yes, he fights Corey the Sniper Sanders, who's 238 pounds.
Good Lord.
That is way, he's 6'4", 238. And,
giving up way too much.
Bobby's 5'10", about 210 maybe.
Okay.
He's 33-1 too. Corey Sanders is, and Corey Sanders fucking thumps him up.
Sure.
I mean, it wasn't even. It was ugly.
Yeah.
Just a little dude getting pummeled. Right. This was second round TKO.
Yeah.
They stopped the fight. He's tough. He didn't go down though, or he didn't get knocked out. 44-8 is his final record as a boxer. 1998, he's inducted into the New Jersey Boxing Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Oh yeah. But I mean, John Bon Jovi's in that, so how great, how great of a boxer do you have to be? No, I'm just kidding. I don't know where the fuck he's in.
John Bon Jovi.
He says, summing up his career, my motivation when I was fighting was different to most other people's. Most people are motivated by religion. I'm an atheist. There's no heaven and no hell for me. Right now, I'm in the history books for 3 world titles in 3 different weights. I competed in 6 weight divisions and won 1 world titles in 3. I never wanted to be ordinary, and that was always my motivation. Then he says that he's sad he didn't get a chance to fight Mike Tyson. Mm-hmm. He says, I'll tell you what, Mike Tyson would have fought me in a heartbeat just because we're friends. He would have probably fucked me up, but you know what? I would have fought Mike for free just for the rush of being in there with someone that dangerous. Just the sheer rush of being in there with someone who could hit like that, just to see what I'm worth. People don't understand that, but if you haven't competed in anything, you won't really understand. You need to be a little fucked up in the head, touched in the head, but nonetheless, I would have fought him for free.
Yeah, he's maybe the only guy on earth that can say, I'd go 5 rounds with him
for free.
Yeah,
just want to see what it was like.
I fucking wouldn't do it.
You want
today.
to feel that? No, I wouldn't either.
No,
but he's used to getting. That's when your dad punches you in the face every day.
Yeah.
It makes you not scared to get punched by Mike Tyson. Because when you're a kid,
Roy Jones is going to rock him, right?
No,
you don't think so?
I don't know what Roy Jones is doing. The last time I saw Roy Jones, he was a cruiserweight and he looked fucking terrible.
Yeah.
That was a while ago. All I know is if Mike Tyson hits anybody, he will kill them. Including Roy Jones got knocked out by 175-pound guys.
All right.
A few years ago. So let's put it that way. If Mike Tyson hits him with the punch, you're going to have to find his head in the 12th row because it's not even close.
I mean, I was just thinking about...
He's a natural heavyweight. His structure,
Yeah.
Roy Jones is not a natural heavyweight.
But the other day I was thinking about how Mike Tyson lost to everybody that was like an amazing boxer. You know what I mean?
And much bigger than him.
Yeah.
He lost to Lennox Lewis, who's 6'6", 250 pounds. Mike's 5'10".
And Holyfield twice.
And then bullshit. That's bullshit. No, I watched the fights. Holyfield's full of shit. Holyfield has like 2 legitimate wins in his whole career where he didn't fucking cheat. Fuck Evander Holyfield.
But I think that, I don't know.
Otherwise, I don't know. He lost to Buster Douglas when he didn't train.
Yeah.
Seems like when Tyson wants to fuck you up and you're not 6'6", 250, he's going to do it. And the prime of his career, he'd beat you then. He beat Larry Holmes' ass. He was pretty big.
I want to watch this. I'm actually interested.
I don't want to watch it.
You know?
No.
I care. I give a shit.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
98, Tyson wants his boxing license back in New Jersey here, and Czyz testifies for him as a character witness in the hearing for it to get his New Jersey boxing license back. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
All right. 1999.
Let's fight that other shit.
Never mind that other stuff. He gets another DUI, sentenced to another 6-month license suspension. 2000, he got a divorce. So it's all...
Kim left him.
Yeah. He says, I quit doing my end. Almost always I put her first and she did me. I stopped somewhere and she didn't. I cheated, but she didn't know or find out until we were separated 3 months. The breakup was so amicable that I got separated in 1997, divorced in January 2000, and didn't move out until January 2001. That's really amicable. 2000, by the way, another DUI. And this is going to be a 6-month driving suspension again. That seems like very... Yeah.
How do you get the...
Don't worry. Don't worry.
They're all the same.
Oh, no, they're not. We'll
that's
see.
Not fair.
Well, June 2001, he files for bankruptcy.
Oh, no.
It's Chapter 7. It is discharged in September. He says, not only that I went through a divorce and gave my wife a $450,000 house with a $150,000 mortgage. I gave her everything. I gave her $65,000 a year in child support alimony. I didn't care. I had money from boxing and broadcasting, but after the bad car accident, which is coming up soon, and I lost my job at Showtime, it all dried up. We'll find out about this.
$300,000 in equity, and you just gave that away?
Gave it away. I've known people who gave away way more than that.
He is very sweet to her.
You don't want to. That was very amicable. I've had it where guys just don't want to fight. Yeah, they don't want to deal with it. So February 3rd, 2003, he's arrested again and drunk driving again, going 87 and a 55. Caught drinking here. This is in Route 202. He was, let's see here. They clocked him 87 and a 55 about 11 p.m. Yeah. They approached his Ford Explorer, questioned him, smelled alcohol, obviously. They asked him to step outside and perform some balance tests, and he failed those. He failed tests and was arrested. They brought him to the police headquarters. They gave him 2 breathalyzer tests, and his blood alcohol levels 0.14. So that's over. The legal limit was 0.10 then in Jersey, 0.14.
That's high.
It's a little bit high. They towed his car, did all that shit. Now, that doesn't sound like anything too crazy. He said that he had about 4 drinks of vodka and wine at TGI Fridays, and that's it. That's all he had. And then he took off. He says he just didn't wait long enough.
He had to say that out loud.
Yeah, I was at TGI Fridays. So he said, I was at TGI Fridays. What the fuck do you want from me? He's sitting around. Christ almighty, these fucking people. He's embarrassed. I'm breaking my fucking balls. He's sitting outside the courtroom. He can't take it. He doesn't know who the fuck is. Everybody's my wife, these people, that one, the goddamn Senates are coming out on me with the fucking Evander Holyfield's got hot sauce in his face. I can't take it anymore. Just as he hears that, says that, he starts to hear dogs barking. He's like, what is that? And approaching him is, of course, Bobby Colorado, animal trainer from Fredericksburg, Texas. And he says, how is it you come to arrive here? The fuck is wrong with you? Huh?
Yeah,
I know. We're in the same. I get what you fucking. Yeah, I know. You don't know nobody. I'm from Fredericksburg, Texas. We all got our secrets, buddy. That's fine. What the fuck are you doing with yourself? I'd say to get a dog, but Jesus Christ, you're going to get in a fucking car accident and shoot the thing through the fucking windshield. I don't want you to have one of my fucking dogs. You're a fucking jerk off. What are you doing?
He doesn't need a seeing eye dog, though. He's half blind now.
That's all right. Fine. You know what? Take this. You ain't going to train it, though. You can do punch it in the face a few times and then, like, lose it or something. I don't know what the fuck. You're going to give it to your wife in the next divorce? I can't do it. Get the fuck out of here. You know what? You're a disgrace, and I'm tired of this whole thing. I'm out of here. Poof. And in a poof of dog shit and marinara sauce, he's gone. Delicious. So this DUI arrest causes Bobby to be Bobby Czyz, not Colorado, to be fired from Showtime.
They lost him.
They shit canned him here. He says they canned me. They said it was my 4th DUI, but the first 3 didn't bother them, I guess. Don King was a convicted 2-time murderer. He was the promoter with an exclusive contract with Showtime. That didn't bother them either.
Is that true?
The fuck yeah. Don King's a murderer, yeah.
Is that true?
Absolutely true.
Did I not know that?
Well, he'll have an episode and you'll find out someday.
I can't wait.
He's absolutely murdered people. So, yeah, it was, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Anyway, this is well before boxing. He says, he says, after a while with Showtime, I got a reputation. If I would say fighter A is thoroughly beating fighter B, if fighter B gets the decision, there can only be 2 reasons. 1, because the judges were incompetent, or 2, they had an agenda and they're frauds. Showtime took pride in the fact that I said those things, but when a promoter has an exclusive deal with Showtime and his fighter wins a fight he shouldn't have won, I say there's an agenda. Now Showtime looks like they're in collusion with the promoter. It starts to be embarrassing a little bit, he says. So, yeah. And he says his agent called HBO and they said that Bobby is synonymous with Showtime, so we can't use him. He's too much on Showtime. Look like we're stealing it, basically. March 2003, court for his DWI. What they find is that basically this is his 4th drunk driving charge, and they find that he has been incorrectly sentenced for his other drunk driving charges.
Shit.
He's been incorrectly sentenced because they just didn't look for them. They didn't see them.
They've been sentencing him like it's his first one
his first offense every time.
Oh, I know a guy.
So, yeah, he was sentenced as a first offender there, 6-month sentence, and then the second time under state law, a second conviction means a 2-year license suspension and at least 2 years of imprisonment, not another 6-month suspension. So the improper sentencing ended up spurring. Now he's got to do like back sentencing for this whole fucking thing here.
No way.
Well, they end up telling him, you, sir, may fuck off. He's sentenced to 10 days in jail and stripped of his driver's license for 2 different counts of 10 years. So 20 years with no driver's license.
Holy shit.
That should have been his third and his fourth, or both 10s. So 20 years.
He's getting them now.
He's getting banged on him hard. They first suspended for 12, and he will be given for the credit for the suspensions he already received. That was 10, and then he got another 10, so it's 20 years. He will not have a driver's license till 2025. He still has no driver's license. Trying to rush through to get to the end here, so it's not a 4-hour episode here. But apparently he's sentenced also, like I said, 10 days in jail, also $500 fine. And he's scheduled to enter a clinic and then report to jail. He said, "You understand I'm not thrilled with my behavior in the past. I'm doing my best to correct it. I want to do the right thing." So, he goes to court, and that's what ends up happening there. Now, Bobby's take on the whole thing, he's defensive. Yeah. He says that the system wanted to make an example out of him because, he said, a writer, quote, thought he was going to expose me and some of my bad behavior, and he made such a big deal out of it that the sentencing was not totally proper, then they threw the book at me. Okay. He said, they asked him if he's an alcoholic. He said, "No, I just made bad decisions. I went to rehab and the doctor said, based on your tests, you're not an alcoholic. No, you have to diagnose me as an alcoholic or the insurance won't pay it. It's $6,900 a week and I don't need the aggravation either." He says that I go to rehab. They start telling me you're going to have this and you're going to have that and you're going to shake. I'm bored. I can't have a couple glasses of wine before I go to sleep because I do have chronic insomnia. So I'm in my room doing push-ups and grunting, and the nurse comes flying into the room wanting to know what's wrong with me. He said they had these classes. It came back to AA and following the steps. They kept saying that when they follow the steps, they give credit to God. But when they mess up, it's their fault. I asked them, how does that work? When you stay clean, God says you do good. He's going to let the other ones mess up.
Right.
So he said, I told them that I know most of you counselors are reformed alcoholics or drug addicts. They got mad at me and pulled me down to the office. They told me these people need guidance and it works for them. I told them that Jesus Christ died 2,000 years ago. What the hell happened to all the people in the 5,000 years before him? Did they all go to heaven by default? Thank you. I've said all of these things in our religion. Love it.
Looking and seeing through the hypocrisy.
Yeah. After that, they kept me away from everybody and asked me not to speak about it. So, March 2004, a new law is on the books.
What?
It's basically the Bobby Czyz law.
Right.
That, the Senate Law Public Safety Committee released a bill, co-sponsored. The governor loves it. Everybody's happy here. It is prompted by Bobby Czyz. It's the Senate committee voted 5-0 to release the bill. Drunken drivers who repeatedly put others in jeopardy should be getting more than slaps on the wrist, and it's a bill that says that the prosecutors have to go over their record and see if they have any others, basically, which seems like you shouldn't have to have a law for that.
I can't believe they aren't doing that.
It took a reporter to tell the prosecutor for them to know. So, I mean, Jesus Christ, he's a mess, and I mean, everybody around it's a mess.
It's terrible.
Well, he's got kids, by the way, here.
Yeah.
He's a goddamn disaster. He's embarrassing himself. I don't really feel bad for him so much. But I'll tell you who I do feel bad for.
Yeah.
These people.
What?
Robert Czyz.
Stop that.
Banking professional in Zurich, Switzerland.
Get out of here.
CZYZ, baby.
Unbelievable.
Bobby Czyz, account manager at Icon Systems, LLC in Chicago.
What?
Bobby Czyz, finance and administration director at Boehringer Ingelheim in Masovian district in Pruszkow County, Poland.
You had to find a guy in Prusz County?
That's right, Poland.
But you got a hat trick. Congrats.
Research. 2004, he's inducted into the National Italian-American Sports Hall of Fame. Oh, yeah. He said he's still making good money with autograph shows and personal appearances, much as $2,000 a pop, but he's had a divorce settlement and bad business deals that are fucking him over. 2005, they wrote of him, outside of boxing, Bobby is involved in several business ventures, and around the time he was parting ways with Showtime, Bobby was approached by friends in the insurance and securities industry regarding a new and innovative trademark product. Bobby passed his examinations and informed me that his product possesses tremendous intrinsic value and external financial rewards.
Oh, boy.
It's a nice step in a different direction at this time in his life. Okay.
Is it a pyramid scheme?
It sounds like multi-level marketing, but I don't know. March 19th, 2006, Kim, his ex-wife, passes away at age 47.
Oh, no.
She had cancer.
God damn it.
And Bobby and his girlfriend, Angela, moved in to care for her for the final 6 weeks of her life because they all stayed very close. He said, my ex-wife was the best human being who's ever been born in history.
Oh.
So, he said she's, there's a lot that's sad that I'm not going to get into.
Yeah.
It's very sad. I feel bad for everybody there. Apparently this was a nice lady. 2007, he says, quote, this is an interesting quote. Right now, I'm in a bit of a struggle. I had the Department of Labor racketeering from the Attorney General's office over my house, and I thought, this can't be a good thing.
No, it's not.
No, that's bad. When you hear labor racketeering and you're any part Italian, you fucking worry. I put in 29 months of work and money into a project, and one of these guys was in business with a defrauded number of us, defrauded a number of us for $3.7 million. Collectively, it was 7 guys that put in a lot of money and had money coming back. $480,000 of it was mine. It was involving insurance premiums. That's a lot of money to lose when you don't have that kind of liquidity. I wasn't $480,000 liquid, so I lost a lot trying to cover what I had to cover. On top of that, I had a host of problems at the same time. Trust me, I don't know why I didn't shoot myself. Okay? Every day, seeing my daughter, looking at her picture, talking to her, that's what kept me there. Yeah. That's bad shit here. He talks about declaring bankruptcy, which we talked about. So he says he does motivational work, charity work, trying to keep his head above water. April 13th, 2007, he's in a really bad car accident. Yeah. Now, I actually remember this accident.
Wait, what?
April 13th, 2007.
He's in a what?
Bad car accident.
Why?
Okay, well, he's not driving. He's in the back seat.
All right.
He's in a car accident, and I remember this accident because I got a call from a friend of mine, friend of ours, however you want to say it, a friend of mine who's also, he calls me up and he goes, hey, Bobby's not going to make it. That's what we've said. And I said,
why?
Bobby who?
Yeah.
I don't know the fuck he was talking about. It's Bobby who?
Where are we supposed to be?
Bobby Czyz. Like, I'm supposed to know this shit. And he goes, he's not going to make it. And so at this point, I'm thinking, is he telling me that they're going to do something to Bobby Czyz? So I literally was like, how do I ask this without saying that? And I went, what did Bobby do? Did he do something bad, or maybe he did something to hurt him? Like, I don't know. So it was a very vague question. He goes, he got a fucking car accident. He's in a goddamn coma. I was like, really? I go, he's going to fucking die. He's not going to make it. I'm like, holy shit. Turns out he was in the back seat of a Mercedes when a hired driver crashed into a tree at full speed.
What?
Not good. He was pulled unconscious from the back seat of the burning Mercedes after a truck struck a tree. Fire Chief James Carbon, who performed the rescue, with help from a bystander, said, quote, when I pulled up, the engine compartment was fully involved and a fire was starting inside the passenger compartment.
Shit.
Which is wild. Czyz was pulled from the fiery wreck 10 minutes later and helicoptered to Jersey Shore Medical Center with broken ribs, facial lacerations, collapsed lungs, and other serious injuries. He stayed in a medically induced coma for 28 days.
Oh, my God.
He left the hospital after 7 weeks. He had a tracheotomy scar, short-term memory problem that never comes back. So if it's not enough that he's been hit in the head for 55 fucking fights and by his father since he was 4, this finally fucks up his short-term memory. He says, I was getting a ride home from a friend of mine and fell asleep in the back seat. My friend of 30 years also fell asleep in the back seat with me. We were going to his house. The next thing we know is that we've been in an accident. As it turns out, his friend drove off the road without touching the brakes and hit a tree head on. My friend and I went face first into the back of the front seats and sustained significant damage to our face and ribs, broken noses, ribs, severe lacerations. The driver got out and started to run away.
What?
And my friend asked me, are you okay? He then chased the driver who had just destroyed his car, not realizing how badly I was hurt. I passed out from the concussion. Well, the car caught fire and yours truly was still inside. Some people in the neighborhood had seen the trouble and called the police and fire department. I was inside with the fire for 8 or 9 minutes and then pulled out. The fire had burned a good portion of my back and shoulders, but I'm healing remarkably well. My lungs, however, were in serious trouble, and I was taken to the hospital via helicopter. During their work on me, they had to pump my lungs clean from all the soot while addressing the burns on my back, because he had soot from the fire. Eventually, my lungs collapsed, and I was put on a ventilator, but my lungs tried to breathe out the ventilator, and they collapsed again. A feeding tube was inserted into his abdomen, and I ripped it out, because causing emergency surgery to save my life. Finally, they strapped my hands and feet down until they brought me out of the coma. When I came around, they told me all that happened, and I was a bit shocked. Normally, I'm a good patient and wanted to do the right things. Every single ligament, tendon, muscle had been dormant for 28 days. I had lost 30 pounds and all the tone and definition in my body. Wow.
That's all it takes? 28 days of just
28 days of atrophy, of nothing. I mean, he wasn't even moving. He ends up making a full recovery minus the brain damage. Yeah. He said that accident ruined my life. Yeah, I would say that'll. Now, 2009, he's inducted into the National Polish American Sports Hall of Fame.
Oh, the Itais and the Poles.
They're like, he's only a quarter, but we'll take him.
How many are there?
It's all right.
It's him and Seabass.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Now, from the hospital, the bill was $1.6 million higher than his insurance would cover.
Oh, no.
The costs are $1.6 million over insurance.
And that's his responsibility.
Yep. His friends held a fundraiser for him, which I saw. Larry Holmes was there. A couple. Chuck Wepner was there. Nice. A couple of guys. He's the guy Rocky is based on. They were all there trying to raise money for him at a bar one night. His lack of driver's license also made it hard for him to find a job doing anything.
Yeah.
Because of that,
raising money at a bar.
Yeah, it's a nightclub, whatever. Having a big night party.
Let's raise $1.6 million at O'Reilly's.
Well, we're going to have a martini special, so it's going to be fine. June 2018. Okay, 2018. They find him working as a bagger at a ShopRite grocery store.
No.
Yes.
This guy was going to fight Tyson.
Yeah, and he did fight Holyfield. The reporter said, I reached out my hand to introduce myself. This is Steve Politti is their guy here who wrote this. He said, I reached out my hand to introduce himself. He shakes it, and before I can ask why he's here stuffing my purchases into plastic bags, he begins telling a story he has likely shared with countless disbelieving customers. Starts saying that this is just temporary. He says he has an upcoming job as an analyst for bare-knuckle fighting, and that'll help his, get him back into the broadcasting, which I haven't been able to find him doing that at all. So I don't know. He said that he's got millions of dollars in debt from all of this shit. He says that he's he says, quote, they tell me I should thank God I'm still here, but I'm an atheist.
Here he goes.
Yeah. He says he talks about some other shit and then asks for the Price Club card.
Yeah.
He said that he walked from his apartment to where he was staying to the ShopRite and applied for a job. He didn't have a car. Yeah. That's all he could do. He said he arrives before 10 a.m. for a shift that begins at 10:30, carries his work apron and a black bag there, and goes there. He says he usually bums a ride. Sometimes he has to use like an Uber. He says, quote, if I were taking Lyft to and from work, it would cost me $160 a week for a job that pays $250. That's the definition of insanity.
Oh, Jesus.
So he's got to bum rides and just like walk or whatever. He says customers recognize him all the time, and he kind of has to give them a quick...
Oh, no.
Yeah. Imagine while you're ringing stuff up, having to explain what happened to you.
Yeah.
He says that he tells them, quote, this is an assembly line. I've got to keep it moving. So, once your groceries are off, our conversation's over.
Yeah.
I got to go to the next one.
I got to embarrass myself in front of somebody else now.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So one lady that knew about him said, quote, you're a member of MENSA. You won 3 world titles. You should be proud of that. And he said, what makes you think I'm not proud of that? Because I'm working at ShopRite?
Right.
He says, I like to eat too.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
He's like, so reusables this time, lady? Got it.
Yeah, all right. Good deal. He talks to a reporter. That reporter, he goes out to dinner with him, and he's late to dinner, he says, because he forgot to put a rubber band around his wrist to remind him, and he can't remember shit anymore. No. Short term. Between the punching and the accident, he's a little fucked up. He says that it's tough. His mind will erase small details of his daily life, and he can't get it in. He says, quote, it's chaos being me, which is what those guys always describe it as chaos. June 2018, he's inducted into the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame, part of the same class as Evander Holyfield and Donald Trump.
Oh, wow.
Holyfield flew his private jet out of there early and missing the entire thing. He just showed up to wave.
Oh, what an asshole.
Yeah. And so, again, this is fucking great. Again, Bobby Czyz, while he's doing his speech, he says, quote, unbeknownst to most of the public, and I hope this doesn't offend anyone, I'm not a religious person. I love it. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God. I've done the research. There are almost 3,000 religions in the world. And then one of Ray Mercer, the fighter, said, Ray Mercer's the announcer. He said, Bobby, not that story. And he said, I've got to do that story. And he said that about atheism in his career. Vinny Paz, who will have his own episode, Vinny Pazienza, he yelled, God is real, joking around. They were laughing and shit. And he said, I promise you I will not go as long as Bobby Czyz when I get up there. So Bobby said, well, when are you going to make a speech that's as smart as mine then? So they're going back and forth. And then he says, quote, I'm in the sports history books 3 times. I can't die. I can't die. It's like Julius Caesar can't die and presidents can't die and Hitler can't die. The reason for boxing is I needed a legacy. I needed something to be in place when I'm gone. Why is Hitler the funniest word in the world? I don't know what it is. Now,
also, you can't die? Why are you saying you're going to be gone?
I don't die. He also was hanging out that weekend. He was sitting ringside for a fight, and he passed out. Had to be carried back to his room. He blamed the blackout on allergy medicine that someone gave him and not drinking.
Right.
But an ex-girlfriend who drove him to Atlantic City packed up and went home when after that happened, so he's probably shit-faced.
He was drunk.
Yeah, so he had no family or friends in the audience when he accepted his deal there.
Brutal.
Chuck Wepner says of him, quote, the alcohol got him. He couldn't let it go. He says, Bobby had a problem. It breaks my heart to think of Bobby Czyz as a bagger in a supermarket, but he's still Bobby Czyz. You can never take that away from him. Bobby will get back on his feet. And he says, this is the last word here, Bobby described his career as a boxer. Here's what he said. Not great, not extraordinary, but solid. I've competed in the top 10 in 6 different weight divisions. I won 3 world titles, acquitted myself well, never a disgrace to myself or the sport. It's just a solid legacy. Solid is probably the most reasonable word I can use. I came, I saw, and most of the time I kicked some ass. Most of the time. I didn't duck anybody. I fought whoever was there. I fought the best of my divisions where I could. I did what I could. I brought everything to the table. You know, there's an old saying, you gotta bring ass to get it. Well, mine's pretty big and I brought all of it.
You got to bring ass
and
to get it.
He'll be walking it off because he has no license till 2025. Can't get enough. There's tons of Bobby Czyz
working it off because he makes $1,000 a month.
That's the other thing, yeah.
Jesus.
And there's tons of Bobby Czyz merchandise, autographed pictures, all sorts, gloves, you name it. It's out there on eBay
bastard.
And everything. That, my friends, is Bobby Czyz. And quite a fucking tale, boy. Let me tell you something. That's a crazy story.
How do you get there?
It's insanity, right?
He could have fought Mike Tyson for $1 million.
Nope. He's paper or plastic.
Oh, my
it's
God.
Fucking brutal.
Paper, plastic, or reusable.
Or you're just going to get your own.
Paper, plastic, or are you going to continue spreading COVID?
You got your own? Yeah. So if you like that story, I know what you can do. Yeah. Get on Apple Podcasts, the purple icon, and tell us you like it. Give us 5 stars. It helps a lot. Doesn't matter what you say. Say you're following instructions, following directions. Go to shutupandgivememurder.com for all of your merchandise needs. All sorts of new stuff is up, by the way. Merchandise needs, everything with Small Town Murder, tickets to live shows, you name it, it's there. You can absolutely do that. Follow us on social media. Very easy to do that. At Crime and Sports on Twitter and Facebook, and at Small Town Murder on Instagram. Now, if you want to be a hero, and not only a hero to us, but a hero to yourself, because you're going to get some awesome content. You want to be a Patreon donor. This week's episode is Vince McMahon and his steroid trial with tons of testimony from wrestlers, which is fucking hilarious. We can't wait to hear. Wrestlers in court is funny. So that's going to be that. Last week, this week too, Small Town Murder is a crazy one, and you can get all of that for the low price of $5 a month on Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/crimeinsports, anything above $5, you get access to all that stuff. Jimmie will butcher your name. It's goddamn beautiful. And if you just want to have good karma and say, you know what, these guys put out a lot of content. This is a long episode. A lot of work goes into it. I like to throw them a couple bucks and get my name butchered.
Yeah.
You can do that at PayPal using our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com. That said, God damn it, Jimmie.
Oh, boy.
I need it after this episode, and I'm feeling it this week. I need to feel the love this week. Let me feel the love of all these people. Run me into a tree without touching the brakes.
This week's executive producers are Hannah Roy or Hannah Waugh. I don't know if she's related
French.
to
The goalie, Patrick.
Joshua Garcia, Mackie.
Roy.
Sorry. It's such a good movie.
It's so great.
It's such a dumb movie.
Yeah.
It was when movies were fucking clever and creative.
And even if they were dumb.
Even if they were dumb. Mackie Daly, Clay Thorson, who, by the way, you're a fucking hero, Clay.
Thank you, Clay.
So much.
What a fuck, man. Clay is our star of the week.
So thoughtful and sweet. Thank you for giving
Clay is our
shit.
producer of the week, by far. Thank you, Clay. You're a great guy. We appreciate the fuck out of you.
Jennifer Jansen, Dylan Stafford, Chrissy-Ann Castaldi again, thank you. Belinda Reed, she lives in Australia and wants to donate tickets when shows to get back on the road to people that are in the States. Jennifer Foltz, stay the course, young lady. Keep it clean. Jackie Sukup, Jordan Bennett, German or Herman Turner. This show is brought to you by the letter J.
Sweet.
Jenny Leinen or Leanin, Jen Freeman, Jenny with no last name, Nikki with no last name, Tommy Pinamonti, Blake with no last name, Sarah White, Eric Moore, Silky B, Frankie Brim, Craig, Kemp, Callie Waldock or Waldotch, Lauren McEater. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
McIntyre. You guys, thank you so much for everything you do. Other producers this week are Jenna Say What? She had 4 wisdom teeth removed. That's fucking miserable. That's Johnny Ramey, happy birthday. Tina Mines, happy birthday. That shit's belated. I'm sorry. Thomas Hughes, Robert Mahan, Mike Cernak, Bob with no last name, Jeremy Sturk, Thomas Smith. Whoa boy, fucking what did I do? Weebkey? Nope. That Weibkey? Nakchui? I'm so sorry. Brendan Abels, George Washington King, Ashley Vio, Eric Castillo, Leah LeBeau, Bex with no last name, Jennifer Visconti, Vicky Morley, Christy Stout, I think that's what I did, Trevor Ritchie, Sarah Snyder, Allison Cannon, Liam Glowy, Danielle James, Amanda Knight, Kelsey, nope, that's Kelly, what did I do? Panosian? Ira Baird, Sun Tran, Duncan Burnham, Jimmy Davis, James Martyr, Britton Mahar, Megan with no last name, Jacinta Edmonds, Kenneth O'Sullivan, Peyton Meadows, Tracy Renninger, Diane McCreary, Candace Black, Chuck, was that Chuck? Yep, Greenman, Jimmy Eat World, which is probably not the band, but even if it is, thank you guys, they're from Phoenix. Reagan Shockley, Keith Cole, Tim Bullion, Park Gary, he's terrific by the way, Logan and Haley Stratton, John Kay, Brian LeBeau, Michael Miller, what did I do? Douglin? Is that right? Cordy? Or is that Douglas? Probably Douglas. Nope, I don't know. Justin Switzer, Marissa Bean, Katie Fee, Andrew Thompson, Margaret Quackenbush. She donated both ways. Thank you. Carly with no last name, Colin the Dude O'Brien, Dan DeVries, Brianna Scott, Janice Hill, April Udy, Jeff Teal, TL, Liz Cassins, Corey, what is that? Hoisington, Josh Elliott, Sally Matani, Trey Volkanar, Ash Amburn, Timothy Bartlett, Abby Hinson, Todd Duncan, Maxwell Davis, Sarah Surridge, Carissa Spencer, Sarah Webb, Marillion, I think, Megan Brown, Seppi, Montarbo, no, Tara O'Neill, Danielle Marr, Brittany Lee, Mike Miller, Eric Schwartzrock, John Stewart, probably not the one though. Hannah Davison, Hannah Davis, Philip. What did I do here? Megason. Damn it. Chad Nicholson, Michael Espinoza, Josh Hughes, Jordan Stivers, Bob Belmonte, Eric Avenger. Tick Gaming. I don't know. Lucia with no last name. Jeff Rockefeller. Jen Taylor, Maggie Russo, Cody Miller, Dan Adler, Leslie with no last name, Kelsey Walker, Jules Parmenter, Elizabeth Byeller, Sam Stinson, Amanda Roop, oh boy, it's got characters over E's, Helene Young, Helene, I don't know, Scott Stevens, James Grieve, Dylan Derringer, David Smith, Brittany Gann, Chris Courier, Andrew Morales, Dan Carbonneau, Paul Watkinson, what did I do? Cage Heath, Christopher Harnack, Kim with no last name, Carly G, Chris Thompson, Madison Mathis, Lisette Marte, I think, George Spizzano, God damn it, Amanda Rainwater, Noah Wooten, Adrian Connor, Nick Laterno, and if that's the son of Mary Jo? Mary Ann? Mary Kay?
Mary Kay Laterno, there you go.
If that's your mom, bro, I'm really, really sorry that you lost her. If not, hey, hang in there, you're probably doing fine.
Yeah, you're
fine. Ron Burgundy's nuts? Gotcha. All right. Dana Cook, Nate Stein, sorry. Jessica Skanu Broussard, I think. Kristen Bremer, Jackie Tucker, Carlos Galvez, Sarah Schmidt, Jennifer Resner, David Jacobs, Celeste the Best, Douglas Daly, Bogan Yoda, Tony Maldonado, Garnett DeWalt, William Peck, Jess Hall, Brandon Van Diemen, Alina, God damn it, Montroy, Alinia, Mary Dowdit, Douthit, Elizabeth Kate, Robin with no last name,
The
Rachel
wheels
Wallace.
have come off the cart, everyone.
Antoinetta with no last name, Seth Laguerre, David Meyer, Anthony Kripal, Christopher Hoffman, William Kirkpatrick, Wayne Kolodny, Jessica Freeman, Rebecca with no last name, Chris Battaglia, Taylor Schulte, Adrian with no last name, Sarah Nicola, Jennifer Alvarado, Tyler Douglas, Scarlett Jekyll, Damian Cabrera, Annie and Theodore Katz, Megan Young, Tommy McAfee, Jorge Torres, Caroline Duffy, Brian Shute. No, that's Bran Shute. Got it. Like an asshole.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm on board. Caitlin, afterwards. Caitlin Coleman, Christina Neal, Charles McPhee, Kyle Klotz, Beth Green, Anne-Marie Fisherback, Jordan Roberts, Dustin Grant, Veronica Stanwyck, Nolan Heaton, Bobby Metters, Jacob Christensen, Jordan Rollerson, Nicole Galvani. There's a G in there that's silent, I'm sure. Erica B., Captain Surly, Jane Patrizzo. Congrats to Colonel Mike Mahan, by the way. The man was promoted to Colonel. Congratulations.
Hey, congrats.
You get the whole bird's nest or whatever the fuck your wife told me to
Full
say.
bird. Full bird.
Is that what it is? I don't know what that means. Does that mean you own the bird?
Yes.
You got the bird. It's
thing, yeah.
From the asshole to the beak. It's all yours.
It's all yours,
Diana
pal.
Torres, Jane Patrizio. I said that. Lindsay Easton, I think. Stephen Davis, not the running back. Jason Underwood, Ashley Ellis. Happy birthday, Meredith Moore. Krista Dupont, Audrey Marie, Todd Cochran, Corey Officer, Alex Green, August Barney Arnson, I think. Anna Hidden, Sandra with no last name. Lisa Love, Scott with no last name. What is this? Corey Boone, William Justice, Brian Robinson, Charlie with no last name, Jennifer with no last name, Christopher Waugh or Roy. What do you say? Atkinson, Erica Petzinger, Jeremy Barrow, Miranda Trump, I'm sorry. That was terrible. Sean Fuller, Alex Sensabaugh, Jason Till, Nick Giersbach, Rachel Garcia, Britt and Lou Garcia, Jason Covert, Hannah Moget, I think, Mark Gilbert, Amelia Francesco, Eric Taro, Hayden D. Sweet, I think that's what that is, Lauren with no last name, Pamela McMillan, Brand Gayhart, Jesus Christ. Callie Cochran, Mark Norton. Jesus, this is so easy. Laney Vicant.
Yeah, Mark Norton's an easy one.
Laney Vicat. I don't know. Angela Riley.
Some shit.
Niel Hune. Nigel. It's probably Niel, right? The
Nigel?
J's probably might be Nigel. Probably not. Becky Knox, Ace Finch, Jolene Herbstritt, Jessica. You okay? Jessica Lawrence, Nolan Betterman, that's Mark O'Hare, Joy Freeman, Kendall Diamond or Demond, Thorsten Gross, home stretch, goddammit. Casey Barton, Julia Pearson, ELM Elm Knits 76, Nicole Leslie, Lynn Van Hoos, Kelly McRae, Melissa Patrick Mox, what did I do? Moss? I think it's Moss. Barb Barnes, Mina, Aslama? Are you, what? Rob Holberg, Celia Early, Elizabeth Hadding, Alexis Coleman, that's a different way of spelling Alexis. It's like a porn star almost.
Yeah.
That's a nice one. It's got a Y in it.
Ooh.
Sandra Apodaca? Nope. Maybe. Cameron Bromley, Kevin Benedetti, and Kenneth Weld's daughter. He's a driver, and Kevin dates his daughter.
Huh.
I don't know why that matters. I don't know why I wrote it. I'm sorry. Matt with no last name. Kristen Gillette, Ashley Owens, Kyle Elbert, Rob Schnitzer, Carl Dennis, Sarah Furr, Matt Dearden Hill. What? Rachel Anson? M with no last name, no name. Just an M. Hey. Samuel Chavez, Isley Smith, Kira with no last name, Taylon Rose, Craig Duffel, or Duffy. What? Sarah in LaFrance, I think. Gina Durdurian. What? Durdurian. Susan Cassidy. Shelley, all... What I do, Larry, listen, and all of our patrons, you guys save our lives. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for all of that and everything you do every week.
Group.
Thank you guys for, honestly, we just couldn't do the show without you guys. And, we do it because you like it. So we'll continue to make the show for you because you like it. Thank you so much.
Support us so hard, and we can't thank you enough for it.
We absolutely do. We love you. Thank you so much. Jimmie, what if they wanted to thank you? Yeah. Or what if they want to say, hey, thank me more?
Whisman sucks. WHISMAN sucks on Twitter and Instagram. That's where I am. Where are you?
I am at Jimmie P is funny, and you can find me there. You'll find me. Don't worry. Yeah. Copy and paste my name. You know how it works. That said, everybody, God damn it. It's been a wild one. And
I'm heartbroken.
It's not going to slow down next week either. It's all going live from the Crime and Sports Studios. We will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.